Imagine opening your eyes in the morning and feeling it before you even move. Not the weight of your body, but the weight of your memories. Faces you once trusted. Voices that were once gentle, but now echo with coldness. A sentence they said years ago suddenly appears in your mind as sharp as the first time you heard it. You lie there, wondering, why do the people I love most seem to wound me the deepest? Why do their words feel like they were carved straight into my heart? There is a quiet answer in the Buddha's teachings. The hurt is not only in what they did, it is in how tightly you hold what has already passed. Imagine you're holding a shard of broken glass in your hand. At first, it cuts you because it's sharp, but after that, the only reason you keep bleeding is because you refuse to open your fingers. The memory, the betrayal, the silence that was the first cut. All the pain that comes after is how long you keep gripping it. You might ask, but how do I not hold on? How can I just stop thinking about it? The mind believes that if it keeps replaying what happened, it will finally make sense. It replays that scene like a movie stuck on loop, looking for different endings that will never come. Yet in the Dharma, there is a gentle, radical invitation: stop bargaining with pain. Bargaining sounds like this: if I understand why they did it, maybe I can accept it. If I replay this enough times, I will figure out what I did wrong. If I stay hurt, I prove that what they did really mattered. But all this does is keep you trapped in a room that has an open door. The Buddha pointed again and again to a simple truth: the world may hit you once, but you are often the one who hits yourself 1,000 times after. A harsh word lands, it stings, then the mind grabs it, rewinds it, imagines what you should have said, imagines what you will say next time. The event becomes a story. The story becomes an identity. I am the one they betrayed. I am the one they didn't choose. I am the one no one understands. Ask yourself softly, without judgment, have I turned my pain into a name tag I wear everywhere I go? Have I allowed this wound to be more real to me than my capacity for wisdom, kindness, and joy? You are not asked to deny what happened. Buddhism never asks you to pretend that hurt is pleasant or that injustice is acceptable. It simply asks you to see clearly what adds to your suffering. The blow from the outside is one thing. The way you cradle it and rehearse it is another. One you cannot change. The other you can. Picture yourself sitting in a quiet room. No noise, no screens, no demands. Just you and your breath. Now imagine placing the memory that haunts you on a table in front of you like an old photograph. You do not tear it up. You do not cling to it. You simply allow it to be there. You watch the feelings rise: tightness in the chest, heat in the face, heaviness behind the eyes. Instead of feeding the story, how could they? Why me? You just stay with the raw sensations. In that simple presence, the memory begins to lose its sharp edges. What was once a burning fire becomes warm ashes. The past doesn't disappear, but it no longer burns you the same way. You have stopped pouring fuel onto it. Modern life trains you in the opposite direction. You are given endless ways to revisit your pain, old chats to scroll photos, to stare at social profiles, to check corners of the digital world where you quietly investigate the people who hurt you. You scroll not only through images, but through your own wounds. Every scroll is another hand reaching for the shard of glass. But imagine another way of living. Imagine choosing not to revisit their page, not to reread that message, not to replay that scene in your head again tonight. Not because you are in denial, but because you are finally ready to stop harming yourself in their name. Imagine deciding that your peace is more precious than your need to be right. more sacred than your need to understand everything. Ask yourself honestly, what do I lose if I stop replaying this? And what do I gain? Perhaps your shoulders would soften, as if someone lifted a hidden backpack from your back. Perhaps your breath would deepen, no longer held hostage by old conversations. Perhaps your life would begin to open like a window unlatched after years of being sealed shut, letting in air you didn't know you were missing. Forgiveness in this light is not a performance. It is not a sentence you say to prove how spiritual you are. Forgiveness begins as a quiet, invisible shift. I will no longer use this memory as a weapon against myself. They may never apologize. They may never understand. They may never change. But you can choose not to be the museum that endlessly displays their cruelty. Let these sentences rise in you like a soft inner prayer. I release the habit of replaying hurt. My peace is more valuable than my pain. I do not negotiate with what is already over. These are not just positive phrases to decorate your mind. They are like seeds. If you repeat them daily, especially when the old scenes try to come back, something subtle starts to grow. A small space appears between their action and your reaction, between what happened and how you carry it now. There will be days when the pain feels fresh again, as if you never healed at all. That does not mean you've failed. It simply means the mind has returned to an old habit. Gently, patiently, you guide it back. No, I will not bargain with pain today. I will not try to change the past. I will take care of my present. In this way, you are not erasing your history. You are reclaiming your future. You are stepping out of the room where everything is measured by what they did and walking into a wider space where your life is not defined by a single chapter. Perhaps the most important question to carry with you now is this: if I stop arguing with my pain, what kind of freedom becomes possible for me? There are moments when another person's pain seems to pour straight into you. A few harsh sentences, a bitter look, a sudden outburst, and suddenly it feels as if their storm has taken up residence inside your chest. Your heartbeat changes. Your breath shortens. You go home carrying a heaviness that was not there when you left. Somewhere inside you, a quiet question appears. Why am I holding what they could not handle? The Buddha's wisdom gently points to something we rarely see. Most of what you call my hurt is borrowed. It is pain picked up from someone who did not know what to do with their own. Imagine walking through a busy train station. People rush by, each one carrying their own stories, their own invisible burdens. One person bumps into you and mutters something sharp. Another glares as if your existence is an inconvenience. Their faces are tight, their eyes restless. For a brief second, their world collides with yours. The mind immediately starts writing explanations. They don't respect me. People are so rude. What's wrong with everyone? But what if instead, you could see the invisible luggage they are dragging behind them? The sleepless night, the unresolved grief, the fear of losing a job, the loneliness they never speak of. Suddenly, their sharpness looks less like an attack and more like a spill and overflow of what they never learned to hold. Does that mean their behavior is acceptable? Not at all. It simply means that you are free to respond without swallowing their poison. Buddhist practice is not about becoming numb. It is about becoming so clear that you can feel everything without becoming everything. Their anger can brush against your awareness, like smoke passing through open air, visible, even unpleasant, but unable to stain the space itself. Ask yourself, how many times have I taken home someone else's mood as if it were my own? How many evenings have I replayed a stranger's rudeness or a loved one's outburst long after they have forgotten it themselves. You are not a container for every emotion that passes near you. You are the one who chooses which emotions are allowed to stay. Picture a hall filled with doors. Each door is a moment when someone brings their turmoil to you, a complaint, a criticism, a sarcastic remark. The knock is loud, insistent. In the past, you may have opened every single door, invited every voice in, and given each one a seat at the table of your heart. No wonder you feel crowded. Now imagine standing inside that hall with a calm, steady presence. The knocks still come. You hear them, you acknowledge them, but you do not have to open every door. You may say inwardly, I recognize this is their suffering. I do not need to make it my own. With that single insight, your inner space remains uncluttered. This is what it means to let their darkness pass through you. Not to deny that it exists, not to justify it, but to stop volunteering yourself as its home. The practice becomes even more tender when the person hurting you is someone you love, a partner whose words are sharper when they are scared, a parent whose frustration spills out as criticism, a friend who withdraws into silence when they feel ashamed. In those moments, your heart might collapse into two extremes. Either you absorb their pain, completely drowning in it, or you harden yourself, building a wall they cannot cross. But the Buddha spoke of a middle way. Compassion is that middle way. It is not weak, and it is not soft in a foolish way. It is the quiet strength of seeing clearly. There is pain here, both in them and in me. I will not pretend there is none. I will not let it decide who I am. Imagine standing by a river at night. Someone upstream throws a bucket of ink into the water. For a while, the surface darkens, swirling with black. Yet the river does not panic. It does not try to push the ink away. It keeps flowing. Because it keeps moving, the ink can never claim the whole river. With time, it thins, disperses, and is carried onward. Your awareness is like that river. When another's darkness touches you, it feels thick, heavy, overwhelming. But if you allow your awareness to keep moving through breath, through presence, through gentle observation, the darkness cannot freeze inside you. It appears, it is seen, and then it is carried on. Try a simple experiment. The next time someone speaks harshly to you, notice what happens in your body before your mind tells its story. Maybe your stomach tightens, your jaw clenches, your chest becomes hot. Instead of immediately answering with anger or shrinking into silence, bring your attention to your breath. One inhale, one exhale. Then ask yourself silently, what belongs to me here and what does not? What belongs to you might be a genuine need for respect, a boundary you want to express, a sadness that you wish to honor. What does not belong to you is their accumulated frustration, their fear, their self-hatred projected outward. You can respond to the first with clarity and firm kindness. You can release the second back to where it came from. Let these quiet affirmations sink into you like warm light. I recognize others' pain without making it my identity. Their words may touch me, but they do not define me. I can stay open-hearted without absorbing every wound. These sentences are like inner handrails. In difficult moments, they keep you from falling into the well of reaction. You might wonder, if I don't take in their pain, am I being cold? Am I abandoning them? The opposite is true. When you are no longer overwhelmed by the other person's storm, you are finally able to see them clearly. You can choose a response that is wise instead of impulsive, to speak honestly without cruelty, to step back without hatred, to say no without closing your heart. Sometimes the most compassionate act is to refuse to be their punching bag. Sometimes it is to walk away so that you no longer support a pattern that harms you both. Compassion is not about staying where you are continually broken. It is about wishing freedom for all beings, including yourself. The Buddha did not teach you to be a sponge. He taught you to wake up. Waking up means seeing that much of what others throw at you is just the echo of their own unexamined suffering. You are allowed to say, "I will not echo this back. I will let it end here." So when the next wave of someone else's darkness comes, remember the river. Remember the hall of doors. Remember that you have a choice. You can let it pass through your awareness like wind through an open field, felt but not trapped. And perhaps the question to hold quietly in your heart tonight is this: if I stop carrying what is not mine, how much lighter could my life become? There comes a moment in every life when the weight of other people's opinions begins to feel like a cage, one we never agreed to live inside. A single comment from someone you care about can suddenly shrink your confidence, tighten your chest, and make you question the very ground beneath your feet. You find yourself replaying their words, trying to understand why they said it, wondering if perhaps they saw something in you that you cannot see. Slowly, without noticing, you begin to defend yourself out loud in your mind, in your dreams. You explain, you justify, you rehearse imaginary dialogues where you finally prove your worth. And yet, the more you defend, the more insecure you feel. Why? Because every time you defend your worth, you hand it over to someone else. Imagine standing in the center of a quiet forest. Around you are tall, ancient trees, steadfast, unmoving, reaching toward the sky without hesitation. They do not grow faster when praised, nor shrink when ignored. They simply rise because rising is their nature. Now imagine yourself as one of these trees. The roots beneath you are your values, your inner knowing, your quiet dignity. The branches are your actions, your kindness, your presence. When someone criticizes you unfairly, it is like a traveler shouting at a tree for not being a mountain. The words echo, but they change nothing about the tree's nature. So why do their words change so much inside you? Because somewhere deep down, you have forgotten the difference between who you are and what they see. Their opinion is a reflection, but not of you. It reflects their past, their insecurities, their expectations, their wounds. You are not responsible for the images others project onto you. Yet the mind, fearful and eager to belong, immediately rushes to defend itself. I am not like that. Let me explain. Let me fix what you think of me. But in Buddhism, there is a liberating truth. The self you defend does not truly exist. The opinions others hold of you and the identity you think you must protect are both made of thoughts, shifting, temporary, unreliable. Like clouds drifting across a mountain peak they pass, the mountain does not rise or fall according to the clouds. It simply remains. Ask yourself with honesty, whose words have you been defending yourself against? A parent who was never satisfied, a partner who spoke from their own insecurity, a friend who misunderstood you, a stranger whose judgment should never have mattered. And deeper still, are you trying to prove your worth to someone who cannot even see themselves clearly? Imagine holding a mirror that is cracked. No matter how radiant you are, the reflection will appear distorted. If you try to fix the reflection instead of putting down the broken mirror, you exhaust yourself in a hopeless task. Many people spend years trying to correct a reflection that was never accurate. Now close your eyes and visualize something different. Picture a lotus rising from still water. The surface may be murky, the mud thick, the shadows shifting, but none of it touches the petals. The lotus does not argue with the mud. It does not defend itself against the water. It simply reveals its beauty because the beauty comes from within, not from the approval of the world around it. This is the image Buddhism offers you when you feel the urge to defend your worth. The lotus does not explain. It emerges. Repeat these affirmations softly, as if whispering to the deepest part of yourself. My worth is not determined by their perception. I honor the truth of who I am, not the stories they create. I rise without defending, like a lotus untouched by mud. Feel how these words settle into you, not as ideas, but as a remembering of the dignity that was always yours, long before anyone had an opinion about you. There is a moment, quiet but powerful, when you stop defending yourself. In that moment, something inside you stands taller, not as a reaction, but as a return. The return to your own inner authority. The return to your own voice. The return to the truth that you do not need to be understood to be whole. Consider how much peace would enter your life if you stepped out of the endless cycle of explaining yourself. You would reclaim hours of mental energy, soften years of old wounds, and release the pressure of performing for an audience that may never truly see you. The Buddha taught that praise and blame are like the wind, inevitable, but never permanent. If you chase praise, it controls you. If you fear blame, it controls you. But if you remain steady in the middle, unmoved by the winds, you find a freedom deeper than approval. Picture yourself walking through a marketplace where people hold small wooden signs, each sign a judgment. Not enough, too much, wrong. Selfish, weak, insecure. Everyone is trading opinions, offering signs to one another. Some people accept every sign handed to them, carrying dozens until they can barely walk. Others refuse all signs, convinced they are above human connection. But the wise person moves through the marketplace differently. When someone offers a sign, whether praise or blame, they smile gently and say, "No, thank you. That does not belong to me." You do not need to reject people. You simply decline the labels. In relationships, this practice transforms everything. Instead of arguing endlessly to correct misunderstandings, you begin to listen deeper. You speak clearly without pleading. You remain open without surrendering your peace. You stop internalizing every small comment and instead respond from an anchored place. This is who I am. You may see what you see, but I know myself. Some people may not understand this shift. They may accuse you of becoming distant or cold. But the truth is, the opposite. You are becoming authentic. You are speaking from clarity instead of fear. You are acting from presence instead of insecurity. And perhaps the most surprising thing is this: when you stop defending your worth, people begin to treat you differently. They feel your steadiness. They respect your boundaries. They sense that you are no longer easily shaken by their moods or opinions. And those who cannot respect your truth gently fall away from your life, making room for those who can. So ask yourself quietly, as a kind inquiry, what would my life feel like if I no longer defended my worth? How many conflicts would dissolve? How many wounds would fade? How much lighter would I walk? Let the answer rise in its own time. Let it guide you toward a new way of living, where your worth is not debated, but embodied. There are moments in life when someone's harsh words strike you like lightning, sudden, hot, and blinding. Instantly, your body reacts. Your jaw tightens. Your pulse rises. Your mind rushes to defend itself, to fight back, to prove a point. It feels instinctive, almost automatic, like touching fire and pulling your hand away. In that flash of pain, you believe you must respond. You must correct them. You must restore some sense of control. But what if true strength is not found in control at all? Buddhist wisdom gently turns the world upside down by showing that anger does not end when you win. It ends when you stop feeding the cycle that keeps it alive. When someone hurts you, your first impulse may be to match their force, to push back with equal intensity. But this reaction, though quick and fierce, often leaves a deeper wound within you. The Buddha taught that reacting with anger is like picking up a burning ember to throw at someone else. The moment you lift it, your own hand is the first to burn. You might wonder then, if I do not fight back, how will I protect myself? How will people know they cannot treat me this way? This question comes from the belief that only force can shield the heart. But there is another way, quiet, profound, and far more powerful. Compassion. Not soft compassion that tolerates mistreatment. Not blind compassion that lets people walk over you. But true compassion, the kind that sees clearly. Compassion that recognizes the suffering behind another's anger and refuses to mirror it. Compassion that understands your storm is real, but I do not need to stand in its path. Imagine two clay pots facing each other in the sun. One pot is heated intensely until it becomes scorching hot. If the other pot touches it even lightly, it too will burn. But if the second pot keeps distance, if it remains steady, it stays cool, grounded, unaffected. In this way, compassion gives you space, a gentle distance that prevents you from absorbing the heat of someone else's chaos. Ask yourself honestly, how many times have you jumped into someone's inner storm because you believed you needed to correct them? How many conflicts grew sharper because you reacted from pain instead of clarity? Reacting gives the other person power. Presence returns the power to you. Now imagine a river flowing between mountains. Sharp rocks jut out across its path, cold, unyielding, jagged. The river could crash into them, shatter against them, rage with force. But it doesn't. It simply flows around them. Soft, patient, steady. Over time, the rocks grow smooth, not because the river fought them, but because the river understood its own nature. Compassion works the same way. By responding from steadiness instead of defensiveness, you dissolve tension without exhausting yourself. You remain yourself, unshaken, aware, free. But compassion does not mean letting harmful behavior continue. It does not mean staying silent when your boundaries are crossed. It means speaking with clarity rather than aggression. It means saying no firmly, but without hatred. It means recognizing that you can refuse mistreatment without becoming cruel in return. Consider the relationships in your life where you have tried to control outcomes. Maybe you tried to make someone change their tone. Maybe you tried to force understanding through argument. Maybe you tried to win a conversation so you wouldn't feel small. But control is nothing more than fear disguised as strength. And fear cannot create peace. Try asking yourself these questions gently. When I argue to defend myself, am I strengthening my peace or shrinking it? When I try to control others' behavior, do I actually feel empowered or exhausted? What would feel different if I responded with patience instead of panic? Imagine standing before someone who is angry. Their words come fast. Their face tightens. Their voice rises. Instead of matching their heat, imagine taking a single slow breath. Imagine feeling your feet on the ground. Imagine letting their words pass over you like wind over water, rippling the surface, but never touching the depths. In that moment, you are not suppressing your truth. You are protecting your clarity. You are refusing to let their turmoil turn into yours. Now bring this scene into a simple visualization. Picture yourself as a lantern on a dark night. The wind swirls, the branches creak, shadows sway, but the flame inside the lantern remains steady behind the glass. It glows not by resisting the wind, but by being protected from it. Compassion is that glass, transparent, gentle, yet strong enough to guard the flame of your peace. Repeat these affirmations softly, letting them settle like warm stones inside your chest. I respond with clarity, not reaction. My strength lies in patience, not force. I can remain kind without accepting harm. Feel the spaciousness these words create. They make room for you to act from wisdom rather than fear. When you practice compassion over control, something extraordinary happens. You begin to see the person behind the anger, the fear behind the harshness, the insecurity inside their criticism. And though this understanding does not excuse their behavior, it prevents their pain from becoming your prison. Compassion does not mean staying close to those who harm you. Sometimes the compassionate choice is to walk away, not with bitterness, but with clarity. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do is remove yourself from the cycle entirely, so both of you stop feeding the fire. As you walk this path, people may notice the shift in you. They might say you've become calmer. They might say you seem grounded. But they may also say you are different, less reactive, less easily shaken, less willing to be drawn into unnecessary battles. And that difference is not distance. It is freedom. Freedom from the need to prove yourself. Freedom from the need to win. Freedom from the belief that your power lies in control. Your true power lies in your ability to remain awake, open, steady, like the river, like the lantern, like the quiet mountain. So ask yourself gently with a hand over your heart. In the moments that test me most, will I let anger shrink my spirit, or will I let compassion expand it? There is a quiet fear that lives within almost every heart. The fear that if you allow yourself to truly feel your pain, it will consume you. That if you let the tears fall, they will never stop. That if you admit you're hurt, it will grow larger, heavier, sharper. So you swallow it. You tighten your breath. You distract yourself with busyness, noise screens, conversations. You tell yourself, it's fine. I'm fine. But the truth is, what you avoid does not disappear. What you suppress does not dissolve. What you refuse to feel settles quietly inside you, like a stone sinking to the bottom of a still lake. It becomes heavier with time. It becomes a weight you carry silently through your days, a weight that makes your steps slower, your laughter softer, your heart more fragile. The Buddha taught that suffering multiplies when we resist our own experience. Pain itself is not the prison our refusal to face it is. Emotional wounds are like shadows. When you turn away from them, they grow. When you turn toward them, they shrink. So the invitation is simple, though not always easy. Feel fully without being consumed. Imagine standing at the edge of the ocean. A wave forms, rises, curls, and crashes toward you. If you brace yourself stiff and fearful, the wave will hit you hard, knocking you off your feet. But if you soften your body, bend your knees, allow the water to move around you, instead of fighting it, the wave passes. It touches you, yes, but it does not destroy you. Your emotions are these waves, powerful, real, sometimes overwhelming, but they are not permanent. They are not you. They are movements of the mind and heart, not the essence of your being. When sadness rises, it rises like a wave. When anger burns, it crackles like fire. When fear tightens your chest, it does so like a passing storm. The nature of all storms is to pass. Ask yourself, how many times have you buried your pain because you believed acknowledging it was weakness? How often have you numbed yourself with distractions instead of sitting quietly with your feelings? And what has it cost you? Your clarity, your authenticity, your inner peace. Avoidance does not protect you. It only postpones healing. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine a candle flame in a dark room. The flame flickers sometimes softly, sometimes wildly, but it remains a flame. It is affected by movement, by air, by presence, but it never becomes the darkness that surrounds it. Your heart is like that flame. Feeling pain does not extinguish it. If anything, the flame glows warmer when it is allowed to burn freely. There may have been times in your life when pain felt too heavy to face, times when the wound was fresh, or the betrayal too deep, or the loss too sudden. In those moments, suppressing your emotions may have felt like survival. And perhaps it was. There is nothing wrong with protecting yourself. But protection and avoidance are not the same. Protection is temporary. Avoidance becomes a habit. To feel fully does not mean drowning. It means allowing the emotion to be felt without creating a story around it. For example, I am sad is a feeling. This sadness will never end is a story. I feel hurt is a feeling. I am unlovable is a story. Stories imprison you. Feelings liberate you. Try sitting quietly with your pain, not analyzing it, not interpreting it, not blaming yourself or others. Simply noticing. You might observe tightness in your throat, heaviness in your chest, heat in your belly. You might feel a trembling in your hands or an ache behind your eyes. These sensations are not signs of weakness. They are signs of aliveness. They are the body's way of releasing what it no longer needs to hold. This is emotional courage, the willingness to meet yourself honestly. Repeat these affirmations gently, as if comforting a dear friend. I allow myself to feel without fear. My emotions rise and fall, but I remain steady. I am the sky, not the passing storm. Feel the truth of these words. Let them anchor you. Think of a time in your life when you finally allowed yourself to cry after holding it in for too long. Perhaps the tears lasted minutes, perhaps hours, but afterward, did you not feel lighter? Did the world not feel a little softer? Did the tightness inside you not loosen just a bit? This is the healing nature of feeling. When you let emotions move through you, they complete their cycle. When you block them, they stagnate. And what stagnates becomes suffering. Some people avoid their emotions because they fear losing control. But consider this. True control is not suppressing your feelings. True control is being able to feel them and still choose your actions wisely. A steady heart does not come from avoidance, it comes from awareness. You may ask, how do I feel deeply without becoming overwhelmed? The answer is presence. Not thinking, not judging, just presence. Breathe. Place one hand over your heart. Tell yourself, I am here. Because sometimes that is all your emotions need, the assurance that you are not abandoning yourself. Ask yourself softly, where in my life have I been afraid to feel? What emotion have I been running from? What would happen if I gently allowed it to rise? Emotions are not dangerous. They are messages. Grief shows where love once lived. Anger shows where boundaries were crossed. Fear shows where tenderness needs protection. Shame shows where old wounds still ache. And compassion, self-compassion, is the balm that allows every one of these emotions to soften. When you honor your feelings without letting them define you, you discover a strength that is not loud but profound, a quiet resilience, a gentle, steady presence. The Buddha said that what is embraced transforms. What is rejected persists. When you welcome your emotions with non-judgment, you begin to heal. When you allow yourself to feel, you stop resisting life. You step into it fully, courageously, tenderly. So ask yourself tonight with kindness, will I continue to run from my pain, or will I hold it softly until it releases its grip? Because healing does not begin when the pain is gone. Healing begins the moment you turn toward the pain and whisper, I am not afraid to feel this. There are wounds we hold not because we want to, but because we don't know how to release them. We grip old anger as if it were proof that someone wronged us. We carry resentment as if letting go would erase the meaning of what happened. We cling to past hurt because holding it feels safer than risking vulnerability again. Yet in the quiet light of Buddhist wisdom, there is a truth, both gentle and startling. You cannot force forgiveness, not for others, not for yourself. Many people believe forgiveness is something you must do to be good, strong, or spiritual. They push themselves to forgive before they're ready. They say the words, I forgive you, while their heart still trembles with hurt. They wear forgiveness like a mask, hoping that by pretending, the pain will fade. But forced forgiveness is not healing. It is self-abandonment disguised as virtue. Imagine holding a rope tightly in your hand. Someone else is pulling on the other end, perhaps intentionally, perhaps unconsciously. Your instinct is to pull back to prove you are strong, to show you won't let go first. But the tighter you pull, the deeper the rope burns into your skin. Even when the other person stops pulling, you still feel the sting because you are the one holding on. Letting go isn't about surrendering the rope to them. Letting go is about releasing your own grip so the burning can finally stop. Forgiveness begins with letting go, not the other way around. Ask yourself with honesty, what pain am I still holding? Because I believe releasing it means the hurt didn't matter. What resentment do I cling to? Because it makes me feel less vulnerable. What anger feels familiar, almost comforting, because it protects me from the tenderness beneath it. The Buddha taught that clinging is suffering. Not the event, not the memory, but the clinging. To let go is not to erase the past. It is to free yourself from reliving it. Imagine walking through a forest in autumn. The trees stand tall, their branches holding leaves that have turned gold, amber, crimson. The leaves are beautiful, but they are also ready to fall. When a breeze blows, the leaves release themselves effortlessly. They do not cling. They do not negotiate. They simply let go because it is time. Now imagine yourself as one of those trees. The leaves represent your resentment, your pain, your old anger. Some leaves fall easily, others cling tightly, as if afraid of the ground below. But eventually, all leaves must fall for the tree to bloom again. There is no blooming without releasing what no longer serves life. Letting go is the gentle preparation for forgiveness. Forgiveness blooms naturally when the heart is no longer gripping the past. Close your eyes and picture a gentle stream. You kneel beside it, holding a dry leaf in your palm. This leaf holds your resentment, your fear, your longing for an apology that may never come. You place the leaf on the surface of the water. For a moment it floats near you. Then slowly it begins to drift downstream. You do nothing but watch. You do not push. You do not hurry it. You simply allow. This is letting go, not forced, not rushed, but offered in quiet awareness. Repeat these affirmations softly. letting them settle into your heart. I release resentment without force. I give myself space to heal at my own pace. Letting go honors my peace. These words are not commands. They are invitations. Each repetition loosens the tightness inside your chest, the knots in your breath, the stories in your mind. Many people believe that if they let go of anger, they lose their power. But anger is not power. It is tension. True power is clarity. True power is freedom. True power is choosing peace even when the world offers chaos. Forgiveness cannot be forced because healing cannot be hurried. The heart has its own seasons. Sometimes it needs winter stillness, silence, introspection. Sometimes it needs spring, soft growth, tender beginnings. Forgiveness is a summer fruit. It arrives when the conditions are right, not when demanded. Ask yourself, do I believe I must forgive before I'm ready? Whose expectations am I trying to meet, my own or someone else's? What might happen if I simply let go of the expectation and allowed healing to unfold naturally? Letting go does not mean forgetting. It means no longer letting the memory poison your peace. Letting go does not mean excusing harm. It means refusing to carry the injury into the future. Letting go does not mean reconciling. It means liberating your heart from old chains. Consider a time when you attempted to force forgiveness. Perhaps you told yourself you should move on. Perhaps others pressured you to be bigger or wiser. But the wound remained tender because it had not yet been acknowledged. The heart cannot heal from what it is not allowed to feel. Before forgiveness can bloom, the pain must be seen, honored, softened, released. Forgiveness is the flower. Letting go is the soil. Imagine someone who hurt you deeply, perhaps years ago, perhaps recently. You may still feel the sting when their memory appears. You may still replay moments when they should have acted differently. The hurt is real. But now, imagine yourself stepping gently back. Instead of gripping the story, you watch it like a scene in a distant film. You observe it without being pulled inside. You breathe. You feel. You soften. Something inside you loosens, not forgiveness yet, but something softer, more spacious, the beginning of release. It is enough. Healing is not a race. You are allowed to take your time. You are allowed to release what no longer serves you. You are allowed to prioritize your peace above everything else. The Buddha said, "Holding on to anger is like raining fire upon your own house and expecting your enemy to burn." The lesson is not punishment, it is mercy. Mercy for yourself. So tonight ask yourself gently, am I ready to loosen my grip on the rope? Not to forgive immediately, not to forget instantly, but simply to loosen. Because every release, no matter how small, opens space for peace to return. And in that space, forgiveness will one day rise, not forced, not demanded, but naturally, like a leaf falling when it is time. There are moments in life when hurt feels eternal. A betrayal that still stings years later. A harsh sentence spoken once but replayed endlessly. A disappointment that keeps echoing long after the moment has passed. You may find yourself thinking, will this pain ever end? Will I always feel this way? The mind in its fear whispers that the ache is permanent, that the wound has carved itself into the core of who you are. But in Buddhist wisdom, there is a truth as gentle as it is liberating. Nothing you feel is permanent. Not sorrow, not anger, not fear, not even the sharp sting of betrayal. Everything rises, everything fades, everything changes. The Buddha compared emotions to weather, intense, unpredictable, sometimes overwhelming, but never lasting. The storm never becomes the sky. The wave never becomes the ocean. Yet when you are drowning in grief or overwhelmed by anger, it is easy to forget the truth of impermanence. You begin to believe that pain is the defining reality of your life. Take a moment and ask yourself, how many hurts once felt unbearable, but now live only as distant memories? How many heartbreaks once consumed every breath, yet now feel like closed chapters? How many storms did you survive that you once thought would break you? Every pain that felt endless eventually softened. You healed, not because you forced yourself to, but because everything in this world is born to change. Imagine sitting by the shore on a quiet day. A wave forms far out in the ocean, rising, gathering strength, rolling toward you. It grows taller, louder, more powerful. But the moment it reaches its peak, it collapses. The water that once threatened to swallow the shore dissolves into foam and slides back into the vast, calm sea. No wave lasts forever. Your emotions are the same. They swell. They peak. They dissolve. None of them are you. You are the ocean beneath them, deep, steady, unbroken. The pain you carry may feel heavy, but heaviness is not permanence. It is simply a moment you have not yet allowed to pass through. Close your eyes and imagine yourself as the sky, vast, spacious, infinite. Clouds gather, dark, heavy, dense. This cloud may be grief. Another may be anger. Another may be fear. Some clouds stay longer than others. Some come unexpectedly. Some return after disappearing for days or years. But none of them define the sky. None of them can stain it. None of them stay forever. You are the sky. Your emotions are the clouds. Ask yourself gently, if clouds cannot last, why do I believe this pain will? Why do I mistake a temporary feeling for a permanent truth? Perhaps it is because the moment pain arises, your mind holds on tightly. It tells stories. This will never change. I will always hurt like this. This is who I am now. But these are stories, not truth. Stories bind you to suffering. Awareness frees you from it. When you remember the impermanent nature of pain, you loosen your grip. You stop turning a passing moment into a lifelong identity. You allow your heart to breathe again. Consider a time when you cried, truly cried, believing the sadness would drown you. But eventually, maybe days later, maybe months, the sadness softened. You found joy again in small things, the warmth of tea, the smile of a stranger, the peace of nightfall. Your pain did not vanish instantly, but it changed as all things do, and in that change you healed. Impermanence is not cold, it is compassionate. It promises that nothing will trap you forever. It assures you that the ache in your chest will soften the heaviness above your eyes, will lift the memories that burn, will one day become gentle. Now imagine yourself standing at the edge of a vast field. Before you, tall grass moves in waves as the wind passes through. Each gust creates a new pattern, always shifting, always moving. No shape remains. The field represents your inner life. The wind represents your emotions. Patterns appear, but they do not stay. The ground beneath the true you remains solid. Place your hand on your heart now and repeat these affirmations as quiet truths. Every feeling is temporary. I am not the storm, I am the sky beyond it. Peace remains beneath all turbulence. Feel the softness of these words. They do not ask you to deny your pain. They simply remind you that the pain has an end. But there is another layer to impermanence, one that is deeper and more humbling. The people who hurt you are impermanent too. The versions of them that wounded you no longer exist. Even the person you were when you were hurt has changed. You are not the same self who received the wound. So why should you carry the pain as if you are? Sometimes the pain persists, not because it is permanent, but because you believe it gives your suffering meaning. You hold on because you think letting it go dishonors the hurt you lived through. But letting go does not erase the past. It simply allows you to live beyond it. Imagine a cup filled with murky water. You hold it tightly, refusing to pour it out. Over time, the water grows darker, heavier, stagnant. Now imagine pouring it into the earth. The soil absorbs it. The murk disappears. And your cup, your heart becomes empty again, ready to be filled with something new. Holding on to pain is like refusing to pour out the murky water. Letting go is not forgetting. It is cleansing. Ask yourself lightly with compassion, what pain am I treating as permanent? What emotion am I afraid to let move through me? What freedom becomes possible when I trust impermanence? The truth is, your hurt is not a life sentence. It is a passing visitor. You do not need to push it away. You do not need to cling to it. You simply need to allow it to come and go. When you trust impermanence, you begin to see the world differently. Storms no longer frighten you. Sadness no longer defines you. Anger no longer controls you. Memories no longer imprison you. You begin to soften, to breathe, to live fully again. The Buddha taught that understanding impermanence is the doorway to peace. For when you no longer believe that your suffering will last forever, you stop resisting life. You start flowing with it. And perhaps the most important question you can ask yourself tonight is this: if I allowed myself to trust that this pain will not last, how much more gently could I hold my heart? There is a quiet confusion many people carry when they have been hurt. The belief that protecting your heart means closing it. That the only way to stay safe is to shut down, build walls, and allow no one to come close again. But deep within Buddhist wisdom lies a gentler truth: you can protect yourself without becoming hardened. You can remain open without being wounded. You can create boundaries without creating barriers. After pain, some people retreat into silence, believing that numbness is safer than vulnerability. Others swing to the opposite extreme. They open themselves too widely, thinking that compassion means accepting every behavior, tolerating every violation, absorbing every storm. Yet neither path leads to peace. True protection is not coldness. True openness is not self-sacrifice. The middle way is learning to be soft and strong at the same time. Imagine a grove of bamboo in the wind. Some stalks bend deeply, swaying with each gust, yet never breaking. Others stand firm, their roots anchored deep in the earth. This is the image Buddhism offers you: flexibility and strength, openness and grounding, compassion and clarity. Protection does not come from building higher walls. It comes from learning how to bend without falling. Ask yourself gently, where in my life have I hardened myself because I was afraid of being hurt again? Where have I been too open, confusing compassion with self-neglect? What would it feel like to create boundaries that are firm yet kind? Boundaries are not punishments. They are not signs of coldness or cruelty. They are clear expressions of self-respect. Setting a boundary is like tending a garden. You do not build a stone fortress around your flowers. You build a simple wooden fence, not to keep everything out, but to protect what is fragile and sacred inside. Boundaries create space where love can grow without fear of being trampled. Imagine for a moment that your heart is a small garden. In this garden, there are flowers of joy, seeds of compassion, growing vines of wisdom. Now imagine someone walking into this garden with muddy boots, stepping on the flowers, uprooting the tenderness growing there. If you allow them to continue, the garden weakens. But if you gently place a fence around the space, they can still see the beauty you have simply created a way to protect it. Boundaries communicate, I value my peace. I respect myself. I choose what I allow into my inner world. That is not rejection. It is clarity. Picture yourself standing with one foot in your compassion and one foot in your wisdom. Compassion says, I see your suffering. Wisdom says, but I cannot let your suffering destroy my peace. When these two walk together, your heart becomes both open and protected. Repeat these affirmations softly, as if whispering them into your own soul. I can protect my heart without closing it. My boundaries are acts of love for myself and others. I remain open, but I choose wisely. Feel how these words soften you without making you vulnerable. Feel how they strengthen you without making you rigid. Now think of a time when you let someone's words or actions enter too deeply. Perhaps you convinced yourself that staying silent was compassion. Perhaps you believed that tolerating disrespect was kindness. But silence without boundaries breeds resentment, and tolerance without clarity becomes self-betrayal. Compassion requires wisdom to stay alive. Remember, you can say no with a soft voice. You can walk away without hatred. You can distance yourself without closing your heart. You can love someone deeply and still refuse to accept their harmful behavior. Imagine standing again as bamboo in the wind. When someone pushes you, do not collapse, you bend. When someone misunderstands you, you do not harden, you stay rooted. When someone brings chaos, you do not become chaos. You remain centered. And when someone crosses your boundary, you do not attack, you simply draw a clear line. Ask yourself, what does protecting my heart look like today? Does it mean saying less, saying more, creating space, or simply listening to myself first? Sometimes protection looks like silence. Sometimes protection looks like distance. Sometimes protection looks like truth spoken calmly. Sometimes protection looks like choosing yourself. The Buddha taught that compassion without wisdom becomes blind, and wisdom without compassion becomes cold. The heart thrives when both are held together, when your love is guided by clarity, and your clarity is softened by love. Think of someone who once hurt you. Notice how your heart reacts, tightens, turns away, or trembles. Now imagine standing before them, not to reconcile, not to argue, but simply to offer yourself a new way of being. You do not close. You do not collapse. You do not absorb. You remain rooted, open, and aware. Their storm may blow fiercely, but you do not become their wind. Their mood may darken, but you do not dim your own light. Their wounds may spill out, but you do not let them stain your heart. This is true protection, not a shield of fear, but a cloak of awareness. You are not here to harden. You are not here to shrink. You are not here to live behind walls. You are here to grow wisely, to love with discernment, to open with strength. So ask yourself tonight with tenderness, if I protect my heart with wisdom instead of fear, how much more beautifully could I love? There are moments in life when pain convinces you of something deeply untrue, that you are alone, that no one else could possibly understand the weight inside your chest, that your sadness is uniquely unbearable, that your heartbreak isolates you from the rest of the world. Suffering has a way of whispering, you are the only one walking through this. And when you believe that whisper, the pain doubles. Isolation becomes its own wound. But in Buddhist wisdom, there is a truth both humbling and comforting. Your suffering is not a solitary island. It is part of the ocean of human experience. Every being you pass, even the ones who smile easily, speak confidently, or seem untroubled, carries a story you cannot see. A hidden bruise, a quiet fear, a loss that shaped them, a moment that broke them open. Pain is universal, and in that universality lies connection, not isolation. Imagine walking through a city at night. Lights glow in windows. Behind each window is a life. Some are laughing, some are arguing, some are crying quietly in the shower, some are staring at the ceiling unable to sleep, some are praying for strength, others are simply enduring. You may not see their struggles, but they exist. Every soul has known loneliness. Every heart has known loss. Every life has cracked open at least once. Now imagine releasing the belief that you are alone in your pain. Imagine realizing that billions of people, past, present, future, have felt variations of what you feel now. Suddenly, your suffering becomes less of a prison and more of a bridge, a thread woven into the vast tapestry of human existence. Ask yourself gently, why do I believe my pain is something I must carry alone? Who taught me to isolate myself when I hurt? What would change if I allowed myself to be held by the knowledge that others have walked this path too? Connection does not require words. It does not require explanations. Sometimes it is enough simply to know I am not the only one who has felt this. Imagine a night sky filled with lanterns. Each lantern represents a human heart carrying its own pain. Some lanterns glow faintly. Some burn brightly. Some flicker. Some drift slowly. But not a single lantern floats alone. They rise together, filling the darkness with light. Your lantern is among them, one light in a vast constellation of shared humanity. This image is more than comfort. It is perspective. It reminds you that the pain you feel, no matter how heavy, is a thread that connects you to others, not something that separates you. Now consider the times in your life when someone shared their story with you. A friend admitting their heartbreak, a family member confessing their fear, a stranger revealing a quiet grief. In those moments, didn't your heart soften? Didn't something inside you open and exhale? Their vulnerability allowed you to breathe. Their honesty made you feel less alone. Your pain has the same potential, not only to be healed, but to become a connection point, a doorway to deeper understanding. Repeat these affirmations softly, letting them settle into your heart like warm rain. I am not alone in my suffering. My pain connects me to the human experience. Compassion surrounds me even when I cannot see it. Feel these words not as ideas, but as truths your heart already knows. Now imagine someone who has walked through a similar pain, someone you may never meet. Perhaps they live miles away. Perhaps they lived centuries ago. Perhaps they haven't been born yet, but they too have felt heartbreak. They too have known betrayal. They too have cried quietly into their pillow. In this invisible companionship, there is comfort. There is strength. There is belonging. You might think, but no one around me understands. Maybe that is true. Maybe the people closest to you cannot hold your experience, but that does not mean you are alone. Compassion is not limited by proximity. There are souls across this earth who understand you perfectly, even if they never hear your story. In Buddhism, this is known as shared suffering, the understanding that pain is a universal teacher. It softens the ego. It opens the heart. It deepens empathy. It reminds us that we are more alike than different. Ask yourself, what becomes possible if I allow myself to feel supported by the unseen compassion of others? What shifts when I stop believing my pain isolates me? What heals when I recognize my suffering is shared by countless hearts? Close your eyes and imagine this. You are walking through a forest. At first, you believe you are alone. The path is quiet, the trees tall, the shadows dense. But then you notice footprints, hundreds of them stretching ahead and behind you, some large, some small, some deep, some light. Your pace slows, your breath softens. You realize, I am not the first to walk through this. I am not the only one finding my way. And just like that, the loneliness begins to lift. Pain becomes lighter when you stop carrying it alone, especially when you realize that you never truly were. Tonight, ask yourself softly, if I let myself feel connected to others in my suffering, how much gentler would this moment become? There comes a moment after hurt when your mind moves faster than your breath. Someone says a careless sentence and your whole body tenses. A memory surfaces and suddenly your heart pounds as though it is happening again. A small trigger pulls you into a storm of reaction, defensiveness, anger, fear, confusion. It happens so fast you barely see it. One moment you are calm. The next, you are swept away. This is the mind unanchored. This is the heart caught in the winds of reaction. In the Buddha's teachings, there is a steady truth. Peace does not come from controlling what others say or do. It comes from anchoring yourself in presence. Presence is the calm beneath the chaos, the stillness beneath every storm. Presence is the choice to return to yourself instead of being dragged by someone else's emotions. Imagine a lake at dawn. When the water is still, the surface reflects the sky perfectly. Every cloud, every ray of light, every shade of color. But when the water is disturbed by wind or stones, the reflection shatters. You can no longer see what is true. The ripples distort everything. Your mind is this lake. Presence is its stillness. Reaction is the wind. When you react instantly, you lose clarity. You stop seeing the situation through the eyes of wisdom and start seeing it through the lens of fear or old wounds. Reaction comes from pain. Presence comes from awareness. Ask yourself gently, what triggers me most easily? Whose words pull me out of myself? How often do I respond from old wounds instead of the current moment? Triggers are not failures. They are places inside you asking to be understood. And presence is what allows you to listen without being consumed. Now imagine this: someone is speaking harshly to you. Their voice is sharp, their expression tight, their energy chaotic. The old version of you reacts instantly, defending, arguing, matching their intensity. But the present version of you does something different. You pause. You inhale slowly. You feel your feet on the ground. You place your awareness in your belly, not in your racing mind. In that moment, a sacred space appears, the space between their action and your response. That space is your freedom. That space is your peace. That space is your awakening. Presence allows you to respond, not react. And responding is an act of wisdom. Reacting is an act of conditioning. Consider the times in your life when panic, anger, or defensiveness led you into regret. Words you wish you hadn't said. Decisions made in haste. Arguments that grew larger than the issue itself. All of these moments began with the same thing: the absence of presence. Presence is not passive, it is powerful. It is the strength to stay with yourself even when the world asks you to abandon your center. Repeat these affirmations softly, letting them echo in your chest. I choose presence over reaction. My peace is a practice, not a reward. I return to myself again and again. Feel the steadiness these words awaken. They remind you that peace is not found outside, it is cultivated within. Close your eyes and imagine a candle placed in a quiet room. The flame flickers softly. There is stillness. Now imagine someone opening a door. The flame shakes violently. If the door stays open, the flame struggles and dims. But if the door closes, the flame steadies again. Presence is the closed door. Reaction is the wind that pulls the flame off center. When your attention is scattered, lost in memories, fears, or stories, the inner flame wavers. When you return to your breath, to your senses, to your body, the flame steadies. You become unshakable again. Ask yourself, what if I let one breath come before every reaction? What if I allowed myself a moment of stillness before speaking? What would my life look like if presence became my first response? Imagine how many conflicts would soften, how many misunderstandings would dissolve, how many moments of pain would pass without escalation. Presence is not about accepting mistreatment. It is what gives you clarity to walk away with dignity rather than rage. It gives you the strength to speak truth without trembling. It allows you to protect your peace without building a wall around your heart. Presence turns chaos into clarity. Presence turns pain into understanding. Presence turns hurt into awakening. The Buddha never said the world would stop challenging you. He taught you how to meet the world without losing yourself. You cannot control the storms of others, but you can anchor your inner lake. So ask yourself tenderly tonight, if I gave myself just one breath before reacting, how much suffering could I spare myself? There are certain seasons in life when silence feels heavier than sound. After being hurt, the world becomes strangely quiet, not because everything around you has stopped, but because something within you has. You may find yourself sitting alone, hearing nothing but the dull echo of your own heartbeat. You may lie awake at night while the rest of the world sleeps, feeling a stillness that almost frightens you. You may walk through your day with the sense that everything is muted, as if life has turned down its volume. Many people fear silence because silence gives them back to themselves. In noise you can escape. In silence you cannot hide. Yet the Buddha taught that silence is not emptiness. It is a teacher, a mirror, a healer. Silence is where truth begins to whisper. Silence is where wounds begin to soften. Silence is where strength begins to grow roots. You may ask, why does silence feel so uncomfortable after I've been hurt? Because silence removes all distractions. It brings you face to face with the rawness you've been avoiding. It asks you to sit with your pain, not to outrun it. But here is the quiet miracle. What you meet honestly dissolves gently. What you avoid fiercely tightens its grip. Imagine a seed buried beneath the soil. Above the ground, nothing appears to be happening. No movement, no growth, no sign of life. But deep beneath the surface, in darkness and silence, the seed is swelling, cracking, opening. New life is forming quietly. Roots are reaching downward. A sprout is preparing to rise. This is how healing happens, silently, invisibly, patiently. Ask yourself softly, when was the last time I allowed myself to sit with silence without running? What feelings arise when everything becomes quiet? What truths might be trying to reach me if only I slowed down long enough to listen? For many people, silence triggers old fears. Memories surface, emotions rise. The mind fills with what you've tried to bury. But this is not punishment. It is invitation. Silence does not create your pain. It simply reveals what is already there. Think of your mind as a jar filled with murky water. If you shake the jar, your thoughts, your worries, your constant movement, the water remains cloudy. But if you place the jar down and leave it undisturbed, the sediment slowly settles to the bottom. Clarity appears not by force, but by stillness. Silence is the placing down of the jar. Now imagine yourself sitting in a small room as sunlight filters through the window. There is no sound except the rhythm of your breath. At first, your thoughts run wild, echoing, rewinding, racing. But with each breath, the noise softens. Your heart begins to unclench. Your body slowly releases the armor it has been holding. And beneath all the noise is something steady, ancient, sacred, your inner calm. This calm is not something you must create. It is something you return to. It is your home. Repeat these affirmations gently, as if lighting lanterns within your chest. I welcome silence as a teacher. Stillness nurtures my strength. My healing grows quietly within me. Feel how these words soften the tension in your breath, soothing the parts of you that have been bracing for too long. Many people believe healing requires action, talking, doing, fixing, confronting. But some wounds need quiet to heal. Some pain needs space, not solutions. Some hearts need the tenderness of stillness. Imagine walking through a forest at dawn. The world is silent, except for the faint rustling of leaves. Sunlight filters through, illuminating dust particles in the air. Nothing is rushing. Nothing is forcing. Everything simply is. In this silence, your breath deepens, your thoughts slow, your heart feels held. Silence has the power to cradle you precisely because it demands nothing of you. Ask yourself, what if silence is not empty, but full of the answers I have been seeking? What if my strength is not built in noise, but in the quiet moments I've been avoiding? What if the silence after hurt is not a void, but a doorway? Consider the times in life when clarity finally arrived. Was it in the middle of chaos? Or was it in a quiet moment? A walk alone? A breath you didn't rush, a night when the world was still, and you finally heard your own voice? Clarity does not shout, it whispers. Sometimes silence feels painful because you expect it to give you immediate comfort. But silence is like a night sky. At first, you only see darkness. But slowly, if you allow yourself to remain there, stars begin to emerge. Points of light, glimmers of understanding, new constellations forming quietly. It is through silence that you discover you are stronger than the storm. You are wiser than the wound. You are deeper than the pain. And the strength you gain in silence is not loud. It does not roar. It does not need to be seen. It grows like roots, hidden, steady, powerful. Now imagine that the hurt you carry is a flame, not a warm one, but a burning one. When you fan the flame with constant thought, it grows. When you drown it in distraction, it smolders, but does not disappear. But when you place the flame in a quiet, still space, without feeding it, without resisting it, it slowly diminishes. The silence cools it. You may have been taught to fear silence, to avoid your inner world, to stay busy so the pain cannot catch up. But healing does not come from outrunning yourself. Healing comes from turning inward, not to the wound, but to the awareness behind it. Not to the pain, but to the space holding it. Not to the noise, but to the silence beneath it. So ask yourself tonight, if I let silence be my companion instead of my enemy, how might my heart begin to transform? You may discover that silence is not an emptiness to fear, but a sanctuary waiting for your return. There is a fragile line between loving others and losing yourself, between offering your heart freely and leaving it unprotected, between being open and being overwhelmed. After deep hurt, Many people swing to extremes. Either they close themselves off completely, becoming unreachable, or they armor themselves so heavily that nothing can touch them. And yet, there is a wiser path the Buddha gently points toward. Be untouchable, not unreachable. These two states look similar on the outside. Both seem calm. Both seem steady. Both seem unmoved. But the inner experience is profoundly different. To be unreachable is to close your heart out of fear. To be untouchable is to anchor your heart in wisdom. One shrinks the soul, the other expands it. When someone wounds you, the immediate impulse is to withdraw, to build walls so tall no one can climb them. You may say to yourself, "I won't let anyone hurt me again," and so you begin to tighten, becoming hard where you were once soft, distant, where you were once warm. But the truth is, closing yourself off does not protect you from pain. It protects you from life. Imagine a great tree standing alone on a wide field. The winds blow fiercely, storms sweep through. Animals pass by, some resting in its shade, some scratching their backs against its bark, some taking shelter beneath its branches. Through all of this, the tree remains rooted. It does not collapse, but it also does not close itself. It continues offering shade. It continues reaching toward the sky. It continues to be alive, generous, open, but its roots run deep beneath the surface, anchoring it so completely that no storm can uproot it. This is what it means to be untouchable, not because nothing reaches you, but because nothing uproots you. Ask yourself gently, have I closed my heart to protect myself? What parts of me have I hidden away because someone once mishandled them? Am I protecting my peace, or am I isolating myself from connection? Being unreachable often feels like strength at first. No arguments, no disappointments, no heartbreak. But over time, emotional numbness becomes its own kind of suffering. An untouched heart cannot break, but it also cannot bloom. True strength does not come from hiding. True strength comes from being open and grounded at the same time. Imagine that same great tree again. Its trunk is your inner stability. Its roots are your values, your boundaries, your self-awareness. Its branches and leaves are your openness, your compassion, your love. When the storm comes, the branches move freely, bending with the wind. They do not resist. They do not lash out. They simply sway, knowing the roots beneath them are strong. This flexibility is not weakness. It is wisdom. Now ask yourself, what if I could be soft without being fragile? Open without being exposed? Loving without losing myself? Picture this exercise. Close your eyes and imagine a small flame glowing in your heart center, not flickering violently, not dimming, but steady and warm. Around the flame is a clear glass lantern. The lantern protects the flame from harsh wind, but it does not hide its light. People can see its glow. They can feel its warmth, but they cannot extinguish it. This lantern is your awareness. It is your boundary. It is your wisdom. This is what it means to be untouchable, not hidden, not armored, but steady. Repeat these affirmations slowly, letting each one settle into you, like petals falling gently to the earth. I give love without losing myself. My heart is open, but it is rooted in wisdom. I remain generous, yet untouchable by harm. Feel the difference between building a wall and holding a boundary. One blocks the world, the other guides it. Boundaries allow you to stay connected while staying protected. They let you interact with others without absorbing their storms. They allow you to love without being consumed. Consider the relationships in your life that once drained you. Perhaps you gave too much. Perhaps you tolerated disrespect. Perhaps you absorbed pain that wasn't yours to carry. Ask yourself, was I loving them or was I abandoning myself? The Buddha taught that compassion without wisdom becomes self-sacrifice, and wisdom without compassion becomes coldness. The true path is neither. The true path is presence, meeting life with an open heart and a steady mind. Now imagine someone you love deeply. Imagine offering them kindness, understanding, compassion. But this time, imagine yourself rooted as you do so. Imagine your feet grounded firmly in the earth. Imagine your breath steady your chest, open your spine tall. You give warmth, but you do not lean forward. You offer love, but you do not chase. You share your heart, but you do not place it in their hands. This is the difference. You are not giving from emptiness. You are giving from fullness. When someone is unkind, you do not crumble. When someone pulls away, you do not cling. When someone misunderstands you, you do not lose your sense of self. Your heart remains open, but your identity stays anchored. Your compassion remains alive, but your boundaries stay clear. Think of water flowing through a river. It nourishes everything it touches. Plants, animals, land, but it never confuses its nature with what it passes through. It remains water. It remains itself. It does not drown the fields. It does not abandon its path. It moves with grace, with clarity, with purpose. This is how you are meant to live, flowing from love, not fear. Now ask yourself quietly, what would my life feel like if I stopped letting others define my emotional climate? If I stopped absorbing their storms? If I allowed myself to love freely without collapsing into love? Being untouchable does not mean you never hurt. It means you do not stay hurt. It means you do not internalize cruelty. It means you no longer allow someone else's shadows to darken your inner light. You remain reachable in spirit, kind, warm, present, but you no longer give anyone the power to break your roots. This is the kind of strength that does not shout. It glows, it radiates, it transforms. Tonight, ask yourself with tenderness, if I rooted myself in wisdom and opened myself in love, how much freer could my life become? There comes a point in your journey through hurt when the mind, in an attempt to protect itself, begins to cling to certain beliefs. I must understand why this happened. If I can figure out their intention, I can finally find peace. If I replay the memory enough times, I will get my closure. But there is a quiet truth hidden in the heart of suffering, one that Buddhist wisdom reveals with clarity and compassion. Not every pain needs an explanation. Some wounds are healed not by answers, but by awareness. Human beings long for closure. We crave explanations. We want the pieces to fit neatly: who hurt us, why they did it, what it says about us. But clinging to the need to understand is one of the mind's most subtle traps. It disguises itself as wisdom, yet it binds you to the past. You think you are searching for clarity, but what you're really doing is delaying freedom. Ask yourself gently, how much energy have I spent trying to understand why someone hurt me? How many nights have I stayed awake replaying what should have happened instead of what did? What would letting go of the need for answers open inside me? The mind believes that if it can explain pain, the pain will stop hurting. Yet the Buddha taught us that suffering ends not through explanation, but through observation. Explanation keeps the mind in the story. Observation brings the mind into the present. Explanation looks backward. Awareness looks inward. Imagine a pond on a summer day. A stone is thrown into its center. Ripples spread outward, circles widening, fading, disappearing. If you stand there demanding to know why the stone was thrown, the ripples will continue disturbing the surface. But if you simply wait, breathing, observing, the pond returns to stillness on its own. The stone drop was the event. The ripples were your reactions. Stillness returns not when the event changes, but when the reactions settle. Your heart is like that pond. The questions you cling to are the ripples. Awareness, not analysis, brings the water back to calm. Now imagine this scene. You are sitting in a train station, waiting for your train. People pass by, some running, some talking loudly, some lost in their own world. Suddenly, a stranger bumps into you, roughly mutters something under their breath, and hurries away. For a moment, you feel the sting of annoyance, maybe even hurt. Your mind instantly begins building a story. Why were they so rude? What did I do wrong? People always take advantage of me. Yet the truth is simple. They were carrying their own chaos. It had nothing to do with you. Not every action toward you is about you. Not every wound has a deeper meaning. Sometimes pain is simply a passing shadow. But the mind makes shadows into ghosts. It gives shape to what has already dissolved. The Buddha said that trying to make sense of others' unconscious actions is like trying to read words written on water. No matter how hard you stare, nothing stays long enough to understand. Ask yourself, why do I need to understand the intentions of someone who did not understand themselves? Why am I giving meaning to a moment that meant nothing to the person who caused it? Why am I holding on to a hurt that the other person has already forgotten? This is not self-blame. This is liberation. Pain becomes heavier when you believe it must be understood before it can be released. Now imagine a lantern held in your hand. Inside is a small flame, a flame that represents your awareness, your clarity, your presence. Around you, the world moves, winds of criticism, storms of misunderstanding, the darkness of someone's harsh words. If you hold the lantern high, the flame remains steady. The winds swirl, but they cannot extinguish it. But if you lower the lantern, trying to chase the wind, the flame begins to shake and weaken. Chasing answers is lowering the lantern. Holding awareness is lifting it. Repeat these affirmations softly, like waves brushing the shore of your heart. I do not need every answer to begin healing. Not all questions deserve my attention. Awareness brings peace, not explanation. Feel the truth of these words. They are gentle reminders that the mind's cravings do not need to be obeyed. Some pains fade only when you let them fade, not when you solve them. Think about the people who have hurt you. Some acted out of their own fear. Some acted out of confusion. Some acted from wounds they refused to heal. And some never intended to hurt you at all. Their behavior was a mirror of their inner state, not a judgment of your worth. What clarity does the heart gain by dissecting the unconscious mind of another? Imagine this. A storm passes through your town. The wind uproots branches. Rain floods the streets. Lightning splits the sky. When it is over, you walk outside. You don't ask the storm why it came. You don't demand an explanation for the lightning. You simply begin cleaning. You restore your home. You rebuild. You dry what was soaked. You repair what was damaged. The storm needed no explanation. Your healing needed action. Pain is like that storm. It arrives. It leaves. Your task is not to question the storm, but to rebuild the space within you. Ask yourself, am I waiting for an apology that may never come? Am I holding on to the story longer than the wound itself lasted? What if today I chose to focus on my healing instead of their reasons? There is an immense freedom in releasing the need to understand. It does not make you careless, it makes you wise. It does not diminish your intelligence, it expands your peace. It does not erase what happened, it stops the story from repeating in your mind. In Buddhism, there is a saying, "The more you stare at the clouds, the more you miss the sky." The clouds are the questions. The sky is your awareness. When you loosen your grip on the need for explanations, you begin to see the vastness of your inner sky again. You begin to realize that the world does not need to be perfectly understood for you to be perfectly at peace. Tonight, ask yourself gently, if I stopped searching for answers and started opening to awareness, what part of my heart might finally exhale? There is a moment in every healing journey when you realize something unexpected. The pain you carry is no longer coming from what happened, but from the way you continue to hold it. Not consciously, not willingly, but quietly, subtly, almost tenderly, as if the hurt has become a familiar companion. You may wake with it, walk with it, sleep with it. It begins to feel as though you must keep it close in order to remember to protect yourself, to stay cautious. But Buddhist wisdom reveals a gentle truth: you cannot rise while holding what was meant to be released. Hurt does not fade simply with time. It fades when the heart loosens its grip. Yet letting go is often misunderstood. Many people believe letting go means erasing the past, pretending it didn't matter, or betraying their former self. Others think it means reconciling with someone who harmed them, or minimizing the wound. But letting go is none of these. Letting go is not an action toward the other person at all. It is an act of compassion toward yourself. Imagine walking through a vast desert carrying a backpack filled with stones. Each stone represents a moment of pain, a betrayal, a harsh word, a loss. You didn't choose a disappointment that cut deeply. At first, you may believe you need to carry these stones to stay safe, to remember, never to trust again, never to open again, never to be vulnerable. But over time, the weight begins to wear you down. The journey becomes exhausting, not because the desert is harsh, but because the burden is heavy. Letting go is not dropping all the stones at once. Letting go is placing one stone down and noticing how much lighter your steps become. Ask yourself softly, which memory still weighs heavy in my chest? What am I afraid will happen if I release this pain? Who would I become if I no longer carried this hurt? The Buddha taught that attachment, not pain, is what binds us. The pain happened once, but attachment to the pain makes it happen 1,000 times. Letting go is not a betrayal of your experience. It is honoring your healing. Now imagine a river flowing through a mountain valley. In its waters floats a single leaf. The leaf represents your pain, real, meaningful, shaped by everything you have endured. The river does not cling to the leaf, nor does it sink it. It simply carries the leaf forward with patience and clarity. If you reach into the river and try to hold on to the leaf, the water struggles around your hand. But if you open your fingers, the river continues effortlessly carrying the leaf to places beyond your sight. What if your heart could be like that river, allowing what has already happened to flow, rather than trying to hold it still? Letting go does not mean losing control. It means releasing the illusion that control was ever necessary. Think of the people who have hurt you. Some apologized, some did not, some changed, some never will. And yet, whether they feel remorse or remain unaware, your healing does not depend on them. It depends on you. A wound does not close because the person who caused it says the right words. It closes because you choose to stop touching it. Ask yourself, why am I waiting for someone else's acknowledgement before I allow myself peace. Your peace is your responsibility, not your punishment. Let's explore a deeper truth. Sometimes you hold on to pain because it gives you an identity. You become the one who was betrayed, the one who was overlooked, the one who wasn't chosen. The wound becomes a story, and if the story is removed, you fear you will become empty. But that fear is an illusion. Removing the story does not make you empty. It makes space for a new chapter. Imagine sitting at a table with a piece of paper in front of you. On that paper is written a single sentence, a painful one, a sentence describing a moment that broke you. You have read it so many times the ink has begun to fade. Your entire identity has shrunk to this sentence. Now imagine placing another sheet of blank paper beside it. White, open, unwritten. Letting go is turning gently toward the blank page. You are not erasing the old sentence. You are simply choosing not to live inside it anymore. Now close your eyes and imagine this scene. You are standing at the edge of a forest. Behind you lies a long path filled with thorns, shadows, and echoes of voices that hurt you. Before you lies a path bathed in golden light, quiet and peaceful, but your feet remain stuck. Not because the new path is frightening, but because part of you still glances back, convinced you must understand everything before you move forward. What if moving forward required no explanation? What if releasing the past didn't need permission? What if healing was simply a soft exhale, a loosening, a gentle step forward? Repeat these affirmations slowly, allowing them to settle into the hidden corners of your heart. I release what no longer brings me peace. I loosen my grip on old pain. Letting go is an act of love toward myself. Feel how each phrase unties a knot just a little. Healing is not loud. It is not dramatic. It is often a quiet shift, a slight softening, a moment when you choose not to revisit the memory today. Letting go can also mean letting go of the version of you who had to survive the pain. That version of you was brave. They carried you here, but now a new version is waiting, one that no longer defines itself by wound, but by wisdom. Imagine placing your hand on your heart and whispering, "Thank you for surviving. Now let me learn to live." Letting go is not forgetting. It is remembering without reliving. Letting go is not excusing. It is refusing to be imprisoned by what happened. Letting go is not losing. It is making space for who you are becoming. Ask yourself tonight, gently, without pressure, if I place down even one piece of this pain, what new freedom would open inside me? Because sometimes the only thing standing between you and the life you long for is the willingness to loosen your hold on what has already passed. There comes a time in every heart's journey when a difficult realization appears, not suddenly, not violently, but like a soft dawn breaking over a dark horizon. The peace you seek will not come from the past changing, but from your relationship with the past changing. And at the center of this transformation lies one of the Buddha's most silent yet powerful teachings. Presence is your refuge, while reaction is your captivity. When someone wounds you intentionally, or not, the residue of that moment lingers within you, long after the event has passed. The mind continues replaying the scene, searching for meaning, predicting dangers, bracing for future harm. A comment from years ago can still tighten your chest today. A glance that lasted only a second can echo in your thoughts for months. This is the nature of the reactive mind. It believes worry is protection. It believes reliving the past is preparation. It believes reaction is survival. But Buddhism offers a profoundly different path. Presence is where suffering ends. Presence does not erase pain, but it prevents pain from owning you. It does not deny what happened, but it frees you from living inside the wound. It does not weaken your defenses, but it removes the unnecessary armor you have been carrying for far too long. Ask yourself quietly, how often do I react from old wounds instead of responding from my current truth? How many decisions have I made out of fear rather than out of clarity? How many moments of peace have I lost by living in stories instead of awareness? Reaction is the mind running into the past. Presence is the mind returning home. Imagine walking through a dense forest. You hear a rustle behind you. Instantly, your body tightens. Your mind leaps into fear. Something is chasing me. But when you turn and look carefully, you see it is only a small animal startled by its own movement. The danger was imagined, not real. This is how the mind behaves after emotional hurt. A tone of voice becomes a threat. A neutral silence becomes rejection. A small disagreement becomes proof of abandonment. The mind reacts not to the present moment, but to echoes of the past. Now imagine yourself sitting by a calm lake at sunrise. A single pebble falls into the water. The surface ripples outward in expanding circles. For a moment, the reflection of the sky becomes distorted. But then, the ripples settle. The surface becomes still again. The lake does not cling to the disruption. It allows the disturbance to move through, and then it returns to peace. Your awareness is the lake. Your emotions are the ripples. Presence is the stillness that returns when you stop stirring the water. But most people never stop stirring. They keep replaying the scene, repeating the story, feeding the pain, and so the ripples never settle. Ask yourself, what am I replaying in my mind that no longer needs my attention? What wound am I rehearsing instead of releasing? What moment am I keeping alive through reaction alone? Presence is the gentle practice of saying, this moment is new. I will meet it with new eyes. Now imagine someone speaking to you in a tense moment. Their voice sharpens. Your breath rises, your chest tightens. Your instinct is to react, defend yourself, correct them, withdraw. But instead you take a single conscious breath. You feel your feet on the ground. You feel the movement of your lungs. You anchor your awareness in your body, not your thoughts. In that instant, you create a small space, a pause, a clearing where wisdom can enter. That space is your liberation. Reaction is immediate because it comes from habit. Presence is intentional because it comes from awareness. Consider the times when reacting made things worse. Arguments, escalating misunderstandings, deepening relationships, straining. Reaction is a fire that feeds on itself. Presence is the water that cools it. Now imagine a candle flame inside a glass lantern glowing steadily. A gust of wind blows against it, but the glass protects the flame. It flickers slightly, but it does not go out. This lantern is your awareness. The wind is the world, people's moods, harsh words, disappointments, misunderstandings. Presence is the protection that keeps your inner flame steady. Repeat these affirmations like gentle ripples settling in your heart. I choose presence, not reaction. My calm is stronger than any storm. I return to myself again and again. These phrases are not meant to control your emotions. They are meant to guide your attention back to where clarity lives. Now think of a moment when you reacted quickly and later regretted it. Perhaps you said something harsh. Perhaps you withdrew too fast. Perhaps you made a decision driven by fear rather than truth. In those moments, You are acting from the past, not the present. Your past self reacted. Your present self can respond. Response is spacious. Response is thoughtful. Response is grounded. Response comes from presence. Picture this visualization. You are standing on a mountaintop. Below you, storms move across the valleys, thunder, lightning, swirling winds. But up where you stand, the air is still. The horizon stretches endlessly. You are aware of the storms, but you are not inside them. They cannot reach your height. Your awareness is the mountaintop. Your thoughts are the storms. You are not required to climb down into every storm that appears. Ask yourself sincerely, why do I descend into storms that are not mine? Why do I give away my peace so easily? What would life feel like if I chose to remain on the mountaintop of awareness? Presence is not a single moment. It is a practice returning again and again to your breath, your senses, your body, your truth. It is not perfection. It is remembering. Now consider this. A person's tone is not your truth. A person's mood is not your responsibility. A person's misunderstanding is not your identity. If you react, you internalize the storm. If you remain present, you let the storm pass. Imagine living your days with a soft, luminous awareness where you hear words without absorbing their negativity, witness chaos without becoming it, face conflict without losing your center. This is not impossible. This is training. This is practice. This is awakening. And little by little, your nervous system learns a new rhythm. Your heart learns a new language. Your mind learns to bow to presence instead of panic. So ask yourself tonight with gentleness, if I stopped reacting to everything that hurts, how much of my suffering would disappear on its own? Because in the end, peace is not found in controlling the world. It is found in anchoring yourself so deeply in presence that the world can no longer pull you away from who you truly are. There comes a point in your healing when you begin to realize something subtle yet deeply transformative. What others do can hurt you, but what you continue to carry can wound you far more. Pain enters your life from the outside, but suffering grows from the inside, from the stories you repeat, the meanings you assign, the memories you nurture, the expectations you cling to. And at the center of this inner suffering lies one powerful force, your attachment to how things should have been. The Buddha called this the second arrow. The first arrow is what happens to you, the event, the betrayal, the disappointment. The second arrow is what you tell yourself afterward, the judgments, the looping thoughts, the emotional replay, the longing for a different past. It is the second arrow that keeps the wound open long after the first arrow has fallen away. Imagine this. You are walking along a quiet path. A small thorn pierces your foot. It hurts. It is painful. Yes, this is the first arrow. But then you begin to panic. Why did this happen to me? I shouldn't have stepped here. Why didn't I notice the thorn? What if the wound never heals? What if it becomes infected? You replay the moment, criticize yourself, blame the world, build stories around the thorn. This is the second arrow, and it always hurts more than the first. Ask yourself gently, which hurts in my life come from the first arrow, and which come from the second? How much of my suffering today is being created by my own resistance? What am I continuing to relive, even though the moment has already passed? People often believe their suffering comes from what happened, yet much of it comes from the belief that the pain shouldn't have happened at all. The mind fights reality, and in that fight, peace is lost. Now imagine holding a rope tied to a heavy stone. The stone is your past. The tightness in your hands is your attachment. The rope represents the belief that if you hold on long enough, you will somehow rewrite what happened. But all that truly happens is this: your hands burn, your muscles ache, and the stone remains exactly where it is. Letting go is not dropping the stone. Letting go is releasing the rope. Some people cling because they fear that releasing their hurt dishonors their experience. Others cling because the pain has become familiar, a constant companion that makes the world predictable. But clinging is suffering disguised as protection. The Buddha taught that every emotion is like a visitor. It arrives. It stays for a while. It leaves. Suffering comes from treating visitors like permanent residents. Imagine standing at a train station, watching trains arrive and depart. Each train carries thoughts, emotions, memories. You don't chase every train. You don't jump into every carriage. You simply watch some arrive and watch others leave. But when someone hurts you deeply, the mind does the opposite. It jumps into the train, grabs the seat, and rides endlessly through the same scenery, forgetting it has the option to step off. Presence is stepping off the train. Awareness is watching thoughts come and go. Freedom is remembering that you are not the train, you are the witness on the platform. Ask yourself, which emotional trains am I still riding, even though the journey is long over? Which memories do I cling to, even though they no longer serve me? Which hurts do I rehearse instead of release? Now take a slow breath and visualize this scene. You stand by a river, the water flowing steadily. Leaves drift gently on its surface. Each leaf carries something, a memory, a feeling, a regret, an unanswered question. You pick up one leaf. It feels heavy at first, not because of its weight, but because of what it represents. You place it back on the water. You watch it drift away, not because you force it, but because the river carries everything forward in its own time. Letting go doesn't mean pushing. Letting go means allowing. There is another reason letting go is difficult. The mind confuses release with vulnerability. Many people believe that if they stop analyzing and stop clinging, they will be hurt again. But this is a misconception. Clarity protects you much better than fear ever could. When you are fully present, you do not confuse your past with your present. You do not mistake old wounds for current threats. You see clearly. You respond wisely. You act from strength, not from pain. Imagine your mind is like a glass of muddy water. The mud is your thoughts, your interpretations, memories, fears, stories. When you stir the glass constantly, the mud continues to cloud the water. But if you place the glass down and allow it to be still, the mud slowly settles. The water becomes clear again. Letting go is the stillness that allows clarity to return. Reaction stirs the mud. Presence settles it. Repeat these affirmations gently, letting them echo slowly through your chest. I release the second arrow. I let reality be as it is. I choose peace over stories. These words are not empty. They are medicine. They loosen the grip of the mind. They remind you that you do not need to add suffering to what already hurt. Now consider this. There are things that happened that you deserved better than. There are apologies you never received. There are closures you waited for, but never got. There are actions you wish someone had taken, but they didn't. There are words you wish had been spoken, but they never were. And yet peace does not come from rewriting what cannot be rewritten. Peace comes from returning to yourself. Imagine holding a broken piece of pottery. It's sharp. If you continue holding it, you will continue bleeding. Letting go is not pretending it wasn't sharp. It is choosing not to keep cutting yourself with something that happened long ago. Ask yourself with compassion, not with judgment. What am I still holding that no longer holds me? What pain have I made into a home? What would happen if I allowed myself to unclench even a little? Healing is not a leap. Healing is a softening. Healing is remembering. Healing is choosing presence over reaction again and again. You do not heal by forcing the wound to close. You heal by giving it space, by letting your breath reach the places your thoughts cannot, by allowing your heart to rest. By remembering the truth beneath the pain, you are bigger than what happened to you. Tonight, ask yourself gently, if I stopped adding the second arrow, how much of my suffering would naturally dissolve? You may discover that the pain was never as permanent as it felt. Only the clinging was. There is a quiet moment in healing when you suddenly realize the truth you have spent so much of your life trying to control what was never yours to control. You tried to control how others saw you. You tried to control how they treated you. You tried to control the outcome of relationships, the rhythm of conversations, the emotions of people you loved. And when they hurt you, whether through carelessness, dishonesty, silence, or neglect, your first instinct may have been to tighten your grip even more. But Buddhist wisdom reveals a truth deeper than instinct. Control is the source of suffering. Compassion is the path to freedom, not compassion in the sense of tolerating harm or forgiving instantly or forcing kindness, but compassion in its truest form, seeing clearly what belongs to you and what does not. You cannot control whether someone chooses to be honest. You cannot control whether someone chooses to love gently. You cannot control whether someone speaks thoughtfully or carelessly. You cannot control the storms rising from someone else's inner world, but you can control how you meet their storms. You can control whether you take their emotions personally. You can control whether you carry their pain as your burden. You can control whether you respond from wisdom or from fear. And that is where your freedom begins. Ask yourself honestly, how often have I tried to change someone who was not ready to change? How often have I tried to make someone understand me who was not ready to listen? How much pain have I caused myself by expecting someone to be different? Expectations are subtle prisons. Control is their guard. Compassion is the key that sets you free. Imagine you are holding a rope. On the other end is a person who is pulling, jerking, resisting, or leaning away. Your instinct is to grip the rope tighter to force closeness, harmony, or agreement. But the tighter you grip, the more the rope burns your hands. The more you resist the pull, the more exhausted you become. Compassion is the moment you open your fingers and let the rope rest lightly in your hands. You are no longer yanked. You are no longer burned. You are no longer at the mercy of their direction. This is not giving up. This is letting go of the illusion that you must control someone else to feel safe. Now imagine someone standing before you, arguing, criticizing, or projecting their insecurities onto you. Their voice may rise, their energy may pull, their pain may spill out. But imagine yourself as a still lake. Imagine their words as pebbles falling onto the surface. There may be ripples, yes, but the depths remain untouched. Control is trying to stop the pebbles. Compassion is understanding that pebbles cannot reach your depth. Often, what you interpret as personal attack is simply someone drowning in their own suffering. Their words are waves rising from their fear, their insecurity, their confusion. Compassion does not excuse their behavior. It simply prevents you from absorbing it. Ask yourself, Why do I take responsibility for emotions that do not originate inside me? Why do I let someone else's storm dictate my inner weather? Why do I cling to the belief that if I just try harder, they will treat me differently? Compassion says, I see your suffering, but I choose not to make it my own. I care for you, but I also care for my peace. I can love you without controlling you. Now picture a clear river flowing between two cliffs. The river does not argue with the rocks. It does not try to reshape them. It flows around them smoothly, patiently, freely. Over time, the rocks soften, not because the river forced them to, but because the river remained true to its nature. Compassion is like that river. Control is like trying to carve the rocks with your hands. Imagine if you lived with the same gentle persistence, choosing your peace over their chaos, choosing your truth over their reactions, choosing your clarity over their confusion. Repeat these affirmations softly, allowing each line to melt into your chest. I release the need to control what is not mine. I meet others with compassion, not fear. My peace is my responsibility. These affirmations are not meant to change others. They are meant to change your relationship with your own peace. Think back to a moment when you tried desperately to make someone treat you right. Perhaps you tried to explain yourself over and over. Perhaps you tried to be everything they wanted. Perhaps you swallowed your needs to keep the peace. Yet no matter what you did, nothing truly changed. This is because change cannot be forced from the outside. Change arises from within. And compassion means allowing others to walk their path even if you wish their path were different. Now consider the opposite scenario. A time when you stopped pushing, stopped explaining, stopped pleading. A time when you stepped back. A time when you chose silence instead of argument, space instead of control. What happened to your heart in that moment? It softened. It breathed. It reclaimed itself. Because letting go of control is not losing power. It is returning to your true power. Imagine standing on a hill overlooking a valley at dawn. The world is waking slowly, gently. You cannot control the sunrise. You cannot tell the clouds how to move or the birds when to sing. And yet everything happens perfectly without your interference. Your heart is the same. It heals naturally when you stop forcing it. It finds clarity when you stop overthinking. It returns to peace when you stop gripping. The Buddha taught that the root of suffering is clinging to stories, to expectations, to people, to outcomes. But he also taught that compassion dissolves, clinging not by force, but by understanding. Ask yourself tonight, what am I still trying to control that was never mine to hold? What peace would open inside me if I finally released it? How would my life feel if I met my world not with control, but with compassion? Because compassion does not mean letting others walk over you. Compassion means you stop abandoning yourself to meet them. And when you stop trying to control how life unfolds, you discover something extraordinary. Peace was never somewhere you needed to reach. Peace was always the place you return to when you stop trying so hard. There is a turning point in every inner journey, a moment when you look back at everything you've endured and whisper to yourself, almost in disbelief, I survived that. What once felt like an unbearable weight, a storm that would never end, a night too long and too dark, you walked through it. And yet even after the pain has passed, a quiet heaviness often stays. Not the original wound, but the feeling that you must remain guarded, vigilant, ready at any moment for hurt to return. This is the residue of suffering, the echo of old fear. But Buddhist wisdom offers a profound reminder. You are allowed to grow beyond your pain. You are allowed to become more spacious than your memories. You are allowed to step into softness again without collapsing into harm. Many people believe healing means never hurting again. But true healing is something different. It is the ability to feel without drowning, to open without breaking, to move forward without dragging the weight of the past behind you. Ask yourself quietly, why do I still brace myself even when no one is hurting me? What part of me still believes pain is the only possible outcome? What would it mean to trust life again, even a little? Imagine a small bird injured by a storm. Its wings were battered, its feathers soaked. For days it hides beneath a fallen branch, trembling, unwilling to move. Even when the skies clear and the sun returns, the bird hesitates. The storm is gone, but the memory of the storm remains inside its bones. So it stays hidden, believing safety means staying small. But the truth is, staying hidden does not heal the wing. Movement does. Warmth does. Courage does. The moment the bird spreads its wings again, even shakily, it begins to reclaim the sky. You too have wings that ache to open. Now imagine yourself standing at the doorway of a quiet temple. Golden light spills across the floor. Outside is the world, imperfect, unpredictable, filled with both beauty and uncertainty. Inside is stillness, safety, familiarity. For a long time you've stayed at the threshold, unsure whether to step out or stay protected. The Buddha teaches that life itself is practice, not isolation, not withdrawal, but engagement with awareness, with compassion, with presence. Healing is not meant to imprison you. It is meant to free you. Ask gently, what part of me am I still hiding? What dream have I been afraid to touch again? Where have I mistaken safety for smallness? Imagine now a pool of water perfectly still. You stand beside it. When you touch the surface lightly, it ripples outward in expanding circles. The ripples do not destroy the water, they animate it. They bring movement, life expression. In the same way, allowing yourself to feel, to open, to trust again, does not shatter you. It brings you back into motion. You were not meant to remain frozen inside a single moment of hurt. The heart is not a stone. It is a lotus. It closes in darkness. It opens in light. And it is your awareness, not the world, that determines when dawn begins. Repeat these affirmations slowly, letting them sink deep into the quiet spaces within you. I am allowed to grow beyond what hurt me. I open gently at my own pace. My future is not defined by my past. Feel how these words loosen the grip of old defenses. You do not need to swing from fragility to hardness. You do not need to become unreachable to stay safe. You do not need to shrink to avoid the possibility of being hurt again. Protection rooted in fear becomes a cage. Protection rooted in awareness becomes freedom. Consider someone who once harmed you deeply. When you think of them now, perhaps a part of you still tenses, not because the danger remains, but because your body remembers. This is natural. Trauma leaves echoes. But here is the gentle truth: your memory is not your destiny. The fear that once protected you is now asking to be released. Imagine a lantern placed in your hands. At first, the flame is dim, uncertain. But as you cup your hands around it, shielding it from the wind, the flame grows brighter, stronger, steadier. Your awareness is that lantern. The more gently you hold your inner light, the more confidently it burns. Now imagine walking through a forest path. Ahead, sunlight filters through the leaves. The shadows are soft, not threatening. The air is cool against your skin. Each step you take feels grounded, safe, steady. You notice that with every breath your chest loosens a bit more. The forest does not demand trust, it invites it. Life is the same. Trust is not something you give once fully and blindly. Trust is something you rebuild gently, moment by moment. It is the small opening of a window after years of keeping it shut. It is the quiet willingness to try again, even if your voice trembles. It is the recognition that while pain shaped you, it does not imprison you. Ask yourself softly, what would my life feel like if I allowed myself to expand again? If I let my heart breathe? If I allowed new experiences to enter, without assuming they would hurt me? Healing is not becoming who you were before. Healing is becoming someone new, someone wiser, softer, stronger, deeper. You have survived storms you thought would break you. You have walked through nights you thought would never end. You have carried pain that once felt unbearable. And yet, you are still here, breathing, growing, opening. Let this truth settle into your bones. Strength is not the absence of vulnerability. Strength is the willingness to be open after being wounded. So tonight, ask yourself gently, if I stopped living in the shadow of old pain, how brightly could my life begin to shine? There is a moment in healing when you look at your life with a kind of soft clarity, neither judgment nor regret, just a quiet seeing. You begin to recognize how much of your suffering came not only from what others did, but from the ways you armored yourself afterward. You see how much energy was spent defending, explaining, anticipating, worrying, and in that fragile, luminous moment of awareness, a truth rises gently from the depths. You do not have to live in reaction to the past. You can choose a new way of being. But to choose this new way, you must first understand something essential. Your nervous system has been trying to protect you, even when it kept you from peace. This is not weakness. This is not failure. This is simply the echo of old wounds speaking in the language of caution. When someone hurt you, your mind learned to scan for danger. When someone abandoned you, your heart learned to expect distance. When someone lied to you, your body learned to tighten at uncertainty. These reactions were once survival, but now they have become habits. Habits that keep you living in the shadows of yesterday. Ask yourself gently, what am I still preparing for even though the danger has passed? Which reactions in me belong to an old version of myself? What would it feel like to live from awareness instead of fear? Imagine a deer living in an open meadow. One day it is startled by a loud sound. It runs fast, urgently, instinctively. The fear floods its body, but once the danger is gone, once the forest becomes quiet again, the deer shakes off the tension, breathes, and returns to grazing peacefully. Animals process fear and release it. Humans process fear and store it. We carry it. We replay it. We relive it. We let fear become identity. But Buddhist wisdom invites you to return to your original nature, where pain is felt acknowledged and released, rather than clung to. Imagine now a jar filled with water. Drop a pebble into it. The surface ripples. The ripple is the emotional reaction, the quickening of breath, the tightening of your chest, the sudden rush of memory. But then the ripple fades. The water settles. This settling is your true nature. This is presence. This is awareness. This is who you are beneath the thoughts. The Buddha taught your mind becomes clear, not by force, but by allowing the ripples to settle. Now ask yourself, what ripples am I continuing to stir long after the pebble dropped? What pain am I keeping alive through habit, not reality? What would it feel like to let the water settle naturally? There is another truth that healing reveals. Feeling safe is not the same as being safe. You may be safe now, your environment calm, your relationships stable, but your inner world has not yet caught up. You may react as though danger is present, even when it is not. You may hold your breath around people who mean no harm. You may expect abandonment from those who want to stay. Your body is living in the past, even though your life has moved forward. Healing is the process of inviting your body back into the present. Imagine sitting beneath a tree in late afternoon. The breeze is soft, the light warm. Leaves rustle calmly overhead. There is no danger. Nothing threatens you. You place your hand over your heart and feel its rhythm steady alive, and slowly you realize that this moment is safe, truly safe. Not because the world has changed, but because you have paused long enough to notice what is actually here. This noticing is the beginning of freedom. Repeat these affirmations softly, as if speaking to a younger version of yourself who has waited years to hear these words. I am safe in this moment. My reactions do not define me. I allow my heart to return to peace. These affirmations are not about pretending everything is fine. They are reminders that your pain does not need to be your compass anymore. You can build a new inner landscape, one shaped by choice, not by wounds. Now imagine a clay pot that has been cracked. In Japanese kintsugi tradition, the cracks are filled with gold, not to hide them, but to honor them. The pot is more beautiful because it has been broken, not despite the cracks, but because of them. Your heart is the same. Your strength is not the absence of wounds. Your strength is the wisdom that grew through them. Ask yourself, what gold has risen from the cracks in me? What have my hardships taught me that comfort never could? How has pain shaped my compassion, my clarity, my courage? Healing is not becoming who you were before the wound. Healing is becoming someone new, someone who sees with deeper eyes, feels with a more open heart, and lives with gentler courage. Now imagine walking through a hallway lined with doors. Behind some doors are memories, some tender, some painful. Behind others are future possibilities, hope, love, new beginnings. But most people stay in the hallway staring at the closed doors of the past, never noticing the open door waiting quietly at the end. Presence invites you to walk forward, not to erase the past, not to deny it, but to stop living inside it. There is a meditation taught in many Buddhist traditions. Place one hand on your heart and ask it, where do you need my presence? Not fixing, not analyzing, just presence. Try it now. Close your eyes. Place your hand gently on your chest or your belly. Feel the warmth of your palm. Feel your breath rising beneath it. And ask, what part of me is still waiting to be seen? You may feel a tightening, a heaviness, a softness, a trembling. Whatever arises is not wrong. It is simply what has been waiting for your attention. You do not heal by forcing change. You heal by offering presence to the places that have long lived without it. Imagine now a lantern glowing in the darkness. At first, its light seems small, fragile, but darkness cannot extinguish a lantern, not when it is protected, held, nurtured. The more you tend to the lantern, the stronger its flame becomes. Eventually, it is not the darkness that fills the room. It is the light. Your awareness is that lantern. Your breath is its fuel. Your healing is its glow. Tonight, ask yourself softly, if I stopped living from fear and started living from presence, how would my life begin to open? You may find that the answer is not a thought, but a feeling, a loosening in your chest, a deepening of your breath, a softening of your inner world. And that softening is your first step toward true freedom. There is a moment, often small and almost unnoticeable, when you realize that the person you once were, the one who endured heartbreak, betrayal, disappointment, no longer exists in the same form. You have changed. You have softened in some ways, strengthened in others. Yet strangely, a part of you still carries the emotional imprint of who you used to be. This is the paradox of healing. You have moved forward, but your heart hasn't fully caught up. Buddhist wisdom gently reminds you, all beings change, all moments change, all pain changes, but our suffering continues when we refuse to see the impermanence of our own inner world. Ask yourself softly, why do I still feel the echo of old wounds, even when my life is calmer now? Why does my heart tense at shadows that no longer exist? Why do I brace myself for stories that ended long ago? Because healing is not a straight line. Healing is a remembering. Healing is the slow, patient returning of your heart to the present moment. Imagine holding an old photograph of yourself, perhaps, from a time when you were struggling, confused, lost in pain. You look into the eyes of that version of you. You see how hard they were trying. You see how tightly they held their courage. You see the innocence, the longing, the fear. That version of you survived so much. Their pain shaped the person you are today. But here is the truth that healing whispers gently into your life. You are not obligated to live according to the fears of your past self. Just because you were once abandoned does not mean you must fear closeness now. Just because someone once broke your trust does not mean you must hold suspicion forever. Just because you struggled once does not mean you cannot rest now. Pain shapes you, but it does not define you. Imagine a snake shedding its skin. The old skin was necessary. It protected the snake when it needed it. But as the snake grows, the old skin becomes too tight, too heavy, too restrictive. Shedding is not a choice. It is a necessity. The new skin beneath is sensitive at first, but it is also alive, spacious, and perfectly suited for the next part of the journey. You too are shedding the skin of who you once were. Ask yourself, what old habits, beliefs, or fears no longer fit the person I am becoming? What defenses feel too heavy to carry into my future? Which parts of me are asking gently to be released? Imagine now a field after winter. The soil is hard, the plants brittle, the air cold, but beneath the surface, new life has already begun forming quietly, invisibly. The first shoots do not wait for winter to give permission. They rise because they are ready. Healing does not wait for the world to become perfect. Healing rises simply because your heart becomes ready to grow. In Buddhist teachings, there is a powerful concept called anicca impermanence. It reminds us that nothing is fixed, not pain, not joy, not identity, not belief, not fear. The version of you who was wounded may have needed walls, defenses, vigilance, withdrawal, but the version of you emerging now does not. The heart you have today is growing beyond what it once needed to survive. Now place your hand gently over your heart. Feel the warmth beneath your palm. Feel the small pulse of life, soft, steady, ancient. That pulse is not the pulse of the hurt child you once were. It is not the pulse of the wounded version of you. It is the pulse of the present moment, alive, fresh, unharmed. Repeat these affirmations softly, as though speaking to the parts of you that have waited years to hear them. I am not who I was when I was hurt. I allow myself to grow beyond my old fear. I honor my past, but I do not live inside it. These are not declarations of force, they are invitations. Now imagine walking into a room filled with memories. Some are warm, others sting. Some are blurred, others are sharp. You take a slow breath. Instead of fighting the memories, you allow them to be there like paintings on a wall. You observe them. You acknowledge them. But you do not climb into them. You do not relive them. You do not try to rewrite them. You simply see them as what they are, moments that have passed. And slowly, gently, you walk out of the room, because you do not live there anymore. Consider this. The pain that once taught you vigilance may now be teaching you openness. The heartbreak that once taught you boundaries may now be teaching you trust. The disappointment that once taught you caution may now be teaching you courage. Healing transforms lessons. What once protected you may now be limiting you. What once kept you safe may now be keeping you small. Ask yourself, what am I still doing that made sense then, but no longer serves me now? What parts of me are living in yesterday's story? What part of my heart is ready to return home to the present? Imagine holding a cup filled with old, stale water. You've carried it for years, afraid to spill it, believing it was all you had. But now you stand beside a clear stream. The water sparkles. It moves freely. It refreshes everything it touches. You look at the cup. You look at the stream, and suddenly you understand the cup is too small for the life that is waiting for you. Letting go of the old water is not waste, it is renewal. Your heart is the cup. Your future is the stream. And healing is the moment you decide to pour out what no longer nourishes you. Now imagine yourself as a lantern in a dark room. At first, the flame is small. But as you breathe with awareness, as you soften into the truth of impermanence, the flame grows brighter. The darkness does not disappear instantly, but it begins to recede. The room becomes illuminated. You begin to see clearly again. This is what happens when you stop identifying with your old wounds. Your inner light returns. Your clarity awakens. Your breath expands. The Buddha taught that liberation begins not with changing the world, but with changing how you see yourself. You are not the broken story you once lived. You are not the pain someone else caused. You are not the frightened version of yourself who had no guidance. You are awareness. You are growth. You are becoming. So tonight, ask yourself gently, if I allowed myself to step entirely into the person I am now, not who I was when I was hurt, how beautifully could my life begin to open? Because the truth is simple, quiet, and radiant. You have already outgrown the cage. Now it is time to stop living as though you are still inside it. There is a moment in every healing journey when you begin to notice something subtle yet profound. You have spent years trying to be understood by those who were never capable of seeing you clearly. You explained yourself again and again. You defended your intentions. You tried to soften your edges, reshape your truth, or dim your light just to fit into someone else's narrow window of perception. And every time they failed to understand you, a part of you quietly questioned your own worth. But Buddhist wisdom reveals a liberating truth. Not everyone has the capacity to meet you where you are, and that has nothing to do with your value. Imagine standing at the shoreline of a vast ocean. Some people can only see the waves. Some can only measure the water by the foam at their feet. Only a few are able to sense the depth beneath the surface. If someone has only ever known puddles, how could they possibly comprehend the infinite weight of the sea? You are the ocean, but you have lived much of your life believing you must shrink to a puddle for others to understand you. Ask yourself with honesty, how much of my suffering comes from giving meaning to someone else's limited perspective? Whose misunderstanding have I been carrying like a wound? Why have I mistaken their lack of clarity for evidence of my lack of worth? There is a deep, gentle wisdom in Buddhism that teaches people see, not what is, but what they are. A fearful heart sees threat. An insecure heart sees competition. A wounded heart sees attack. A closed heart sees nothing at all. And yet none of this reflects who you truly are. Imagine a traveler walking with dust in their eyes. Everywhere they look appears blurred, distorted, incomplete. If they look at a mountain, the mountain seems unclear, not because the mountain lacks shape, but because the traveler cannot see clearly. Others' inability to see you is not a statement about your clarity. It is a statement about their vision. Now imagine you are holding a crystal bowl. Clear, beautiful, delicate. Someone walks by and says, "I don't see anything special." Another says, "It looks flawed." Another says, "I prefer something simpler." If you believed every voice, you might think the bowl has no value. But their opinions do not change the bowl's essence. It remains what it is, regardless of who can appreciate it. Your worth is the same. It is not determined by who recognizes it. Consider how much of your inner conflict came not from reality, but from your longing to be seen deeply by someone who only knew how to look shallowly. You tried to explain your softness to someone hardened by their past. You tried to share your depth with someone afraid of their own. You tried to show your truth to someone committed to their illusions. You tried to open your heart to someone whose heart was still locked. They could not meet you, not because you were too much, but because they had not yet learned how to see. Ask yourself softly, why do I rely on the vision of those who cannot even see themselves? Whose misunderstanding have I mistaken for truth? What would my life feel like if I stopped living in the reflection of someone else's confusion? Imagine walking through a forest where each tree is different, some tall, some curved, some ancient, some new. Not one tree compares itself to another. Not one tree changes its shape to earn approval. Not one tree apologizes for taking up space. The forest is beautiful because every tree stands unapologetically in its own nature. You too are allowed to stand in your truth without seeking permission. Now imagine your heart as a temple. Soft light glows inside. Wisdom rests quietly in every corner. Peace hums like a gentle echo, but over the years, you have left the doors open for anyone who wished to enter, even those who walked carelessly, even those who carried their storms inside, even those who could not appreciate the sacredness of your space. You are now learning to close the doors, not in anger, not in withdrawal, but in discernment. Only those who enter with awareness may enter. Only those who honor your space may stay. Only those who understand silence may sit beside your inner flame. This is compassion. This is self-respect. This is awakening. Repeat these affirmations gently, letting them settle into the parts of you that have long felt misunderstood. I release the need to be understood by everyone. Those who cannot see me cannot define me. I honor my truth even when others cannot. These words are not shields, they are invitations to return home to yourself. Now consider someone from your past whose misunderstanding of you created deep pain. Perhaps they called you too sensitive when in truth you were deeply aware. Perhaps they labeled you difficult when in truth you were honest. Perhaps they said you asked for too much when in truth you only wanted emotional presence. Their misunderstanding was never a measure of your essence. It was a reflection of their limits. Imagine now a quiet lake reflecting the sky. If the water is disturbed by wind, by stones, by movement, the reflection becomes distorted. But the sky itself never changes. Your true self is the sky. Their perception is the disturbed water. Healing is realizing that the distortion was never yours to carry. Ask yourself gently, what happens if I stop explaining myself to those committed to misunderstanding me? What energy would return to me if I stopped trying to prove my worth? Who might I become if I lived by my own clarity instead of others' confusion? Now picture walking on a long path at twilight. Fireflies light your way. The air is cool and calm. Every step feels soft and steady. As you walk, you feel something falling away, not something physical, but something heavy. The weight of explaining, the weight of defending, the weight of seeking validation, the weight of believing someone else's limited vision was truth. As the weight falls away, your breath deepens, your chest opens, your steps grow lighter, your heart becomes spacious again, because the moment you stop trying to be understood by the wrong people, you become visible to the right ones. And this is the quiet miracle of healing. When you stop shrinking to fit into someone's smallness, you begin expanding into your true size. Tonight, ask yourself one gentle question. If I no longer needed to be understood by those who cannot see me, how freely could I begin to live? There comes a quiet moment in healing when you begin to realize something profound. You have spent years apologizing for being human, for feeling deeply, for needing connection, for having boundaries, for wanting honesty, for longing to be treated with tenderness. And every apology, spoken or silent, carved a small wound in your heart, a wound not created by others, but by your belief that your needs were somehow too much. But Buddhist wisdom teaches a truth more liberating than any apology. Your needs are not a burden. They are a reflection of your humanity. Ask yourself softly, why do I feel guilty for needing what every heart needs? Kindness, clarity, respect. When did I begin believing that asking for truth was weakness? Whose inability to give became the standard I used to judge myself? There is a misconception many people carry that needing others makes them fragile. But in reality, acknowledging your needs is a sign of profound inner strength. Only someone deeply aware can say, "This matters to me." Only someone courageous can say, "This hurts me." Only someone honest can say, "I deserve better." Imagine a garden. Each flower needs sunlight, water, the right soil. None apologizes for it. None shrinks, none hides, none questions whether it deserves nourishment. It simply opens when cared for and closes when deprived. Your heart is the same. It blooms with kindness. It wilts with neglect. It is not the heart that is wrong. It is the conditions that were unfit. Yet you learned somewhere along the path to silence your needs because expressing them led to pain, dismissal, rejection, belittlement. And so you tucked them deep inside, believing that self-abandonment was the price you must pay to keep the peace. But here is the gentle truth. Peace built on self-abandonment is not peace. It is silent suffering. Imagine now a child standing before you, eyes soft, hands small, heart open. They say, "I'm tired. I'm scared. I need comfort." Would you shame them? Would you tell them to toughen up? Would you call them weak? Of course not. You would kneel before them, offer them warmth, hold their trembling hands. You would honor their needs, not because they are dramatic, but because they are human. Why do you not offer yourself the same compassion? Ask yourself gently, what would my inner child say if I finally listened? What have I silenced in myself to avoid losing others? What has it cost me to ignore my own heart? Imagine walking through a quiet forest. The air is still. Sunlight filters through leaves in long golden streams. You place your hand on your chest. For the first time in a long time, you feel not fear, not tightness, but presence. And in that presence, you hear a truth your heart has whispered for years. I deserve gentleness. Not as a reward, not as something earned through suffering, but as your natural state. To need love is not weakness, it is the essence of being alive. To need clarity is not clinginess, it is respect for your peace. To need kindness is not naivety, it is wisdom. To need truth is not demanding, it is alignment with your soul. In Buddhism, there is a deep teaching. Suffering is not caused by our needs, but by attaching ourselves to those who cannot meet them. Let that sink into your heart like warm light. Imagine holding a clay bowl under a running stream. Water fills the bowl effortlessly. The bowl does not chase the stream nor beg for drops. It simply sits beneath the flow, open, receptive. But if you place the bowl under dry soil, the bowl remains empty no matter how deserving it is of water. Your needs are the bowl. The right people are the stream. The wrong people are the dry soil. Ask yourself, how long have I been placing my heart under dry soil, hoping it would turn into water? Why have I mistaken someone's inability as my unworthiness? What would happen if I offered my heart the nourishment it has always needed? Repeat these affirmations gently, letting them dissolve the years of guilt you've carried. My needs are valid. I honor what my heart asks for. I choose people who can meet me with sincerity. These words are not declarations of entitlement, they are acts of healing. They are the return to your own humanity. Imagine now a long hallway with doors on both sides. Behind each door is a version of you who once apologized for being human. One door holds the you who stayed silent to avoid conflict. Another holds the you who accepted crumbs and called it love. Another holds the you who blamed yourself for being ignored. Another holds the you who tried desperately to be easy, low maintenance, unbothered. You walk past each door with compassion, not judgment. You whisper to each version of yourself, I understand why you did that. You were only trying to feel safe. And with each door you pass, you feel a layer fall away. Finally, at the end of the hallway, you find a door slightly ajar. Light spills through it. You open it gently. Inside stands the version of you who knows their worth not through pride, but through presence. This version does not beg for kindness, because kindness is their standard. This version does not fear abandonment, because they do not abandon themselves. You step into this room. You close the door softly behind you, and you breathe. Because this is the moment you stop apologizing for being human and begin honoring yourself with the compassion you have long offered to others. Ask yourself tonight, with tenderness, if I stopped treating my needs as burdens, how much peace would return to my life? There is a moment along the path of healing when you begin to sense a quiet shift, not in the world around you, but within your own awareness. You start to see that much of your suffering came not from the pain itself, but from the way you carried it, clutched against your chest, protected like a fragile secret, guarded as if letting it go would mean betraying your own experience. But Buddhist wisdom whispers a truth that is gentle yet transformative. You do not heal by holding your pain tightly. You heal by allowing it to move. Pain is meant to pass through you, not live inside you. Ask yourself softly, why do I hold my pain as if it defines me? What am I afraid will happen if I release this burden? What part of me still believes that suffering is proof of my strength? Imagine a river flowing through a deep valley. Rocks may fall into its path. Branches may drift in its current. Storms may muddy its waters. Yet the river never traps what enters it. It carries everything forward steadily, continuously, without hesitation. If the river held on to every fallen branch, every stone, every storm, it would eventually cease to flow. Your heart is the same. It cannot move freely if it clings to what was meant to pass. But somewhere along your journey, you learned to hold your pain tightly. Perhaps because it was the only thing that made you feel safe. Perhaps because you didn't want to forget what you endured. Perhaps because the pain felt like the last thread connecting you to a person or a moment you once loved. Or perhaps because you believed that healing required understanding, and you kept the pain close, hoping that one day it would finally make sense. But pain does not dissolve through analysis. Pain dissolves through compassion. Imagine holding a handful of sand. The tighter you squeeze it, the faster it slips through your fingers. But if you open your palm, the sand simply rests there, light, manageable, no longer a source of strain. Your pain, too, becomes heavier when you tighten around it. Ask yourself gently, what would my pain feel like if I stopped gripping it so hard? Who might I become if I allowed myself to soften? What new space would open inside me if I finally released what has stayed too long? The Buddha taught that suffering arises not from feeling, but from attachment to emotions, to stories, to identities shaped by old wounds. Imagine wearing a heavy coat in the middle of summer. The coat once protected you in winter. It kept you warm when the world was cold. But now, under the summer sun, the same coat becomes suffocating. There is no shame in needing it once, but there is freedom in realizing you no longer do. Your defenses were the coat. Your past was the winter. Your present is the summer calling you to remove what no longer serves you. Now imagine a lantern hanging in a dark room. At first, its light is small, flickering. But when you shield the flame with cupped hands, gently, not tightly, the flame grows steadier. This is how your healing begins, not by forcing the light to be bright, but by holding space around it. Softly, kindly, without control. Repeat these affirmations softly, as though soothing the places inside you that have long lived in tension. I allow my pain to move through me. I do not cling to what has already passed. My healing grows when I release my grip. These words invite you to become spacious, to allow your emotions to flow instead of settling like stones at the bottom of your heart. Now visualize this. You are standing beside a lake at dawn. Mist rises gently from the surface. The world is quiet, untouched. You hold a small wooden boat in your hands. Inside the boat lies a memory, a heavy one, a painful one, a sorrow you have held for years. You place the boat on the water. It wobbles at first, as if uncertain. Then it begins to drift, slowly, softly, without struggle. You do not push it away. You simply allow it to go. You watch as it glides across the water further, until it becomes a small speck of light disappearing into the morning mist. The memory is not erased. It is honored, but it is no longer held in your hands. This is letting go, not forcing, not forgetting, just allowing. Ask yourself quietly, which memories are ready to move away from the center of my heart? What burdens have I carried so long they feel like part of my identity? What gentle exhale am I still withholding? Understand this deeply. Letting pain move does not mean you lose the lessons it taught you. You keep the wisdom. You keep the growth. You keep the deeper vision you gained. You simply release the suffering. Now imagine walking into a quiet temple made entirely of warm wood and soft light. You take a seat on the floor, your back straight, your breath slow. In the stillness, you feel something loosening, not in your mind, but in your chest. It's a subtle shift, a softening. The pain is still there, but it begins to move like a tide slowly receding from the shore. This is the natural intelligence of your heart. It knows how to heal when you stop interfering. It knows how to flow when you stop gripping. It knows how to open when you stop shielding it. Ask yourself gently, what am I ready to loosen my hold on today? What weight can I let shift even slightly? What would it feel like to trust life enough to release one small burden? Because healing is not one grand moment of transformation. Healing is a series of small softenings, a collection of tiny releases, a quiet untying of knots you once believed were permanent. Tonight, hold this truth close. Pain will not drown you if you let it move. It only becomes unbearable when you try to hold it still. And in that softness, you rediscover what has always been waiting beneath the weight, your spaciousness, your breath, your freedom. There is a moment on the healing path when you begin to see with a clarity both tender and startling that much of your inner suffering comes from fighting what already is. You resist endings. You resist changes. You resist truths that arrived uninvited. You resist the silence left behind when someone walked away. And in all that resisting, you exhaust your heart, not because the truth is unbearable, but because you refuse to let it rest. Buddhist wisdom teaches a quiet, liberating insight. Suffering does not come from what life gives you, but from your struggle against it. This does not mean you must like what happened. It does not mean you must approve of it. It means only this peace begins the moment you stop arguing with reality. Ask yourself softly, how much of my pain comes from wishing things were different? Which truths have I fought for so long they have become my prison? What would happen if I stopped resisting and started accepting? Imagine standing on the edge of the sea. Waves roll toward you, some gentle, some fierce. You cannot stop them. You cannot predict them. You cannot command the tide to turn, but you can choose how you meet each wave. You can brace your body and tense against the water, or you can soften your knees, lower your center, and allow the wave to pass through you. Resistance exhausts. Acceptance steadies. You do not drown by feeling the wave, you drown by fighting it. Now imagine holding a piece of driftwood. You cling to it because you fear the ocean will swallow you. Your muscles ache. Your breath shortens, but a quiet truth exists beneath the panic. The ocean is not trying to drown you. It is simply moving. It does what it has always done. The suffering does not come from the water. It comes from your grip. Ask yourself, what driftwood am I still clinging to, believing it will save me? What if letting go would actually allow me to float? There is a beautiful teaching in Buddhism. Pain is natural. Suffering is optional. Optional. Not because you can choose what happens to you, but because you can choose how you hold it. Imagine sitting in a room filled with tightly closed fists. Every fist is clutching something, a memory, a regret, a disappointment, a story that never resolved. The fists tremble with effort. They grow tired. The pain is not in what they hold. It is in the gripping. Now imagine one hand opening. Just one. Instantly there is space breath softness. Nothing leaves the hand immediately. but the tension dissolves. Healing begins not when you change your past, but when you relax your grip around it. Repeat these affirmations gently, like drops of water on your heart. I stop fighting what already is. I soften my grip around the past. Acceptance opens the door to peace. These words do not erase your memories. They simply loosen the tightness. Now imagine walking through a forest after rain. The ground is moist. The air is cool. The trees stand quietly, holding droplets of water on their leaves. There is no resistance in the forest, no tree arguing with the storm that has just passed, no leaf complaining about the rain, no branch wishing the wind had blown differently. Nature accepts, adapts, continues. Why do we resist what nature embraces with ease? Your heart is part of nature. It was never designed to cling only to experience and release. Ask yourself gently, what truth have I been avoiding because I believed accepting it would break me? What if accepting it is exactly what would free me? What if the thing I fear facing is the doorway to my next peace? Now imagine sitting before a door made of old wood. Behind it is a truth you've avoided. Perhaps a relationship that has ended a version of yourself. You've outgrown a dream that no longer aligns with your heart. You've kept this door shut for years, believing that opening it would unleash unbearable pain. But when you place your hand gently on the door, it is not heavy. It is not dangerous. It is simply locked by your fear. You do not need to fling the door open. You do not need to walk inside. But you can sit in front of it. You can breathe there. You can feel your heartbeat. You can say quietly, I am ready to stop running. And something shifts, not because the truth has changed, but because you have. The Buddha taught that acceptance is not resignation. It is intimacy with reality, a closeness, a recognition, a willingness to see without flinching. Imagine now a cup filled with muddy water. If you stir it constantly, if you resist, analyze, fight, the mud never settles. But if you set the cup down, if you allow stillness, the mud drifts to the bottom and the water clears. Acceptance is the setting down. Resistance is the stirring. Ask yourself gently, what would happen if I stopped stirring my pain? What clarity might appear in the stillness? What truth have I been too afraid to let settle? Because here is the quiet miracle. When you accept reality, you stop being imprisoned by it. When you stop fighting the past stops fighting you. When you stop asking, why did this happen, and begin asking, what now, your entire life begins to soften. Acceptance does not happen all at once. It happens breath by breath, moment by moment, recognition by recognition. Tonight, ask yourself with tenderness, if I stopped resisting what already happened, how much suffering would fall away on its own? Because sometimes the only thing standing between you and peace is the belief that you must keep fighting a battle that ended long ago. There comes a moment in the journey of awakening when you finally see how much of your inner suffering has come from trying to force life to be what you wished it was, instead of allowing life to be what it is. You spent years trying to rewrite endings, rebuild broken bridges, revive relationships long dead, and repair people who were never willing to heal themselves. And somewhere along the way, without even noticing, you began carrying the impossible burden of believing that peace would come only when the outside world finally cooperated. But Buddhist wisdom reveals a truth that frees the heart the moment it is understood. You cannot force what is not ready, and you cannot hold what is already gone. Ask yourself softly, how much of my exhaustion comes from giving energy to things beyond my control? What am I still trying to fix? that was never mine to fix? Why do I believe peace will come from controlling outcomes instead of from releasing them? Imagine standing in a field of tall grass at sunset. The wind moves gently across the land, and the grass bends effortlessly. It does not resist. It does not cling. It simply sways. But if the grass decided to stay rigid to force itself upright against the breeze, it would snap under the pressure. You too have been trying to stand rigid against the winds of life, believing that resisting change will somehow preserve your sense of safety. But resistance breaks what softness could have saved. The Buddha taught that suffering arises from attachment not only to people, but also to outcomes, expectations, hopes, and imagined futures. You hold tightly to how you wanted things to unfold, believing that letting go means losing. Yet the deepest loss is not in letting go, it is in holding what wants to leave. Imagine holding a handful of water. The tighter you squeeze to keep it from slipping away, the faster it escapes. But if you loosen your hand, if you open your palm, the water remains gently cupped. Peace works the same way. It stays not when you clench, but when you soften. Ask yourself, where in my life am I gripping too tightly? What outcome have I been trying to control because I feared what would happen if I didn't? What would happen if just for today, I allowed things to be as they are? Now imagine a tree in late autumn. Its leaves turn gold, then brown. The wind lifts them one by one, carrying them away. The tree does not resist. It does not chase after the leaves, shouting, "Come back. I still need you." It knows the cycle of life. It knows that loss is part of renewal. It trusts the wisdom woven into the seasons. You too are allowed to trust the seasons of your life. You are allowed to let go of what is falling away. You are allowed to stop chasing what is already drifting from your grasp. Letting go is not abandonment. Letting go is aligning with reality. Imagine now that you are sitting at the edge of a river. The water flows steadily, endlessly, impermanently. In your hands, you hold a small paper boat, something symbolic, something personal, a dream. You once had a version of yourself. You've outgrown a relationship. You've been unable to release. You place the paper boat onto the river's surface. It floats clumsily at first, unsure of its journey. Then the current picks it up. It drifts away. You watch it move farther and farther until it becomes a tiny speck, and then nothing. You did not force it away. You simply placed it in the river and allowed its natural path. This is letting go. This is the art of release. Repeat these affirmations gently, as though speaking to the parts of yourself that feel tired from holding too tightly. I surrender what I cannot control. I allow life to unfold without forcing it. What leaves makes space for what is meant to arrive. These words are not resignation. They are liberation. Consider now a truth that often goes unnoticed. Not every ending is a failure. Some endings are divine protection. Some endings create space for who you must become. Some endings redirect you toward people who can meet you deeply. Some endings free you from repeating old lessons. Ask yourself, what ending have I been grieving that may actually be a turning point? What departure have I taken personally, when in truth it had nothing to do with my worth? What door has closed so another can open? Imagine walking through a long hallway filled with doors. Some doors close gently behind you. Some slam shut with force. Some remain half open for years, calling you back with memories, nostalgia, longing. But eventually, you reach a door bathed in soft, golden light. You open it, and the air feels different, lighter, calmer kind. This is the door you were always meant to enter, but you could not reach it while clinging to the ones behind you. Letting go is not about forgetting the old rooms. It is about finally allowing yourself to walk into the new one. Now imagine a mountain. Clouds gather around its peak on some days. On others, the sky is clear. The mountain does not question the weather. It does not resist the clouds or cling to the sunlight. It simply remains steady, grounded whole. Your peace becomes like the mountain when you stop demanding that circumstances be different in order to feel calm. You discover that peace is not out there. Peace is your natural state when you stop fighting with life. Ask yourself gently, why do I believe I need to control everything to feel safe? Who taught me that surrender is weakness? What would happen if I trusted life to carry me instead of forcing every step? Imagine yourself now sitting before a candle flame. You watch it flicker. You watch it steady. You watch it brighten. The flame teaches you the simplest truth: movement is natural. Change is natural. Life is not meant to be held still. You were never meant to stay in one emotional season forever. You were never meant to cling to relationships out of fear. You were never meant to control what is beyond your reach. You were meant to flow. You were meant to grow. You were meant to release. Repeat softly, like a prayer returning you to yourself, I let go with grace. I trust the unfolding. I return to peace. Because letting go is not losing. Letting go is choosing yourself. Letting go is freeing your heart's hands so they can hold what truly belongs. And tonight, ask yourself with gentle honesty, if I stopped forcing and started allowing what peace would quietly return to me? There comes a moment in your journey when you begin to sense that healing is not only about what you release, but also about what you allow yourself to receive. For so long, your focus has been on letting go. Letting go of pain. Letting go of old stories. Letting go of people who could not stay. Letting go of wounds that weighed down your heart. And yet, in the quiet space that opens after release, another challenge emerges. Can you allow goodness to enter your life again? Buddhist wisdom teaches this subtle truth. Suffering contracts the heart. Healing expands it. But expansion can feel frightening when you have spent years protecting yourself from disappointment. Ask yourself softly, why does kindness make me suspicious? Why do opportunities make me hesitate? Why does love make me brace for hurt? Why do I turn away from what I have long prayed for? Because the heart, when wounded, forgets how to receive. Imagine a person standing in the rain with an umbrella held tightly overhead. Not because it is raining now, but because they once walked through a storm unprotected. The sky above them is clear, but their hands cannot release the umbrella. They have forgotten how to trust the openness above. This is how many of us live, carrying protection long after the danger has passed, holding our breath even when the air is safe, guarding our hearts even when love is near. Your defenses were once necessary, but healing asks a new question. Are they still necessary now? Imagine now a small bowl placed beneath a waterfall. The water cascades beautifully, endlessly, yet the bowl cannot receive because it has been placed upside down. The issue is not the lack of water, it is the position of the bowl. You too may have abundance flowing toward you. Kindness, support, connection, new beginnings, but your heart, still shaped by old fears, may be turned upside down. Healing gently turns the bowl upright again. Ask yourself, where in my life am I resisting the very things that would nourish me? What blessings have I quietly pushed away out of fear? What goodness am I afraid to believe I deserve? Imagine now a garden after a long winter. The soil grows softer. The light grows warmer. The air grows gentle. But the flowers do not bloom all at once. They emerge slowly, shyly, cautiously. At first, just a bud, then the slightest opening, then a full blossom. They open not because they are commanded to, but because the environment finally feels safe. Your heart is no different. It opens when it feels safe, not when it is forced. Buddhist teachings often speak of the middle way, a balance between extremes. In healing the middle way is this: you do not close your heart completely, nor do you fling it wide open all at once. You open it in gentle increments with awareness and trust. Now place your hand gently over your chest. Feel the warmth beneath your palm. There is a small space, perhaps a tightness, perhaps a tenderness. That space is where your heart asks to open, not all at once, but slightly, gently, softly. Repeat these affirmations with quiet presence. I allow goodness to enter my life again. I soften, but I do not collapse. I trust the slow opening of my heart. These words are not demands, they are invitations. They nudge the door, but do not force it open. Now imagine you are walking along a quiet forest path. Sunlight filters through leaves. The ground is soft beneath your feet. Ahead you see a clearing, a place you have never stepped into. It feels peaceful, but also unfamiliar. A part of you hesitates, not because the clearing is dangerous, but because you are stepping into something new. Healing requires this moment of courage, stepping toward the clearing, even if your legs tremble. Ask yourself, what clearing in my life am I afraid to step into? What dream have I been quietly avoiding because I fear disappointment? What relationship have I resisted because I fear vulnerability? The Buddha taught that the greatest suffering comes from clinging to the past, and the greatest freedom comes from trusting the present moment. Trusting the present moment means trusting your capacity, trusting your wisdom, trusting that you have grown in ways you once never imagined. Imagine a golden gate in front of you. On the other side is the life you've whispered about in the dark: peace, joy, steadiness, love, purpose, belonging. You place your hand on the gate, but your mind hesitates. What if I fail? What if I'm hurt? What if I'm not ready? What if it's taken away? But beneath those questions, something deeper whispers. What if this time everything is different? Fear creates stories. Wisdom listens beneath them. Fear tightens the heart. Healing loosens it. Fear expects the past to repeat. Healing allows the future to unfold. Now imagine a bird standing at the edge of a high branch. Its wings tremble slightly. The wind lifts its feathers. For a moment, the bird hesitates, not because it cannot fly, but because it remembers the fall that once broke it. Still, the sky calls. The sun warms its back. The air beckons. When the bird finally steps off the branch, it does not fall. It soars. You too are learning to trust your wings again. Ask yourself with compassion, what part of me is ready to soar, but still clinging to the branch out of habit? What would happen if I believed I am strong enough now? What small step toward openness can I take today? Healing is not a single leap. It is a series of gentle openings, a soft breath, a small yes, a quiet willingness, a hand reaching out again, a heart daring to trust again. Now imagine sitting on a meditation cushion at sunrise. Light spills across your skin. A feeling washes over you, not dramatic, not overwhelming, but subtle and deep. A sense that despite everything, despite every hurt, despite every betrayal and disappointment, you are still capable of love, still capable of joy, still capable of receiving, still capable of opening. Your pain shaped you, but it did not close you. Your suffering changed you, but it did not destroy you. Your history taught you, but it does not define you. Repeat this softly, letting it echo through your being. My heart is allowed to open again. I receive the goodness that flows toward me. I trust the path unfolding before me. And tonight, ask yourself gently, if I allowed myself to receive as freely as I once gave, how much beauty would enter my life? Because healing is not only about what leaves healing, is about what you finally allow in. There comes a moment in the evolution of your inner life when you begin to understand something both subtle and revolutionary. You do not heal by becoming invulnerable. You heal by becoming authentic. For so long, you equated strength with silence, resilience with emotional numbness, and survival with hiding your true feelings. You wore masks so convincingly that even you began to believe them. But beneath those masks, something tender remained, something true, something alive, something waiting. Buddhist wisdom teaches that authenticity is not a performance. Authenticity is the natural state of the awakened heart. Ask yourself gently, when did I begin believing that vulnerability was a weakness, whose judgment taught me to hide my truth? What am I afraid others will see if I show who I really am? The mind often believes the lie that hiding brings safety, but the heart knows the truth. Hiding brings loneliness. Imagine a crystal lamp covered by layers of cloth. Each cloth is a defense, a smile used to mask pain, a shrug used to hide disappointment, a joke used to divert attention from heartbreak. Over time, the lamp's glow grows dimmer, not because the light is fading, but because the layers keep multiplying. Healing begins the moment you lift a single layer, not all at once, not dramatically, but gently, intentionally, bravely. Imagine yourself standing before a mirror, not the mirror that reflects your face, but the mirror that reflects your inner world. In this reflection, you see not perfection, but sincerity, not unbrokenness, but courage, not flawlessness, but truth. You see the parts of you that felt too heavy to show, the parts you feared would be rejected, the parts you believed no one would understand. Those parts are not your shame. They are your doorway to freedom. Now imagine a deep well. For years, you have lowered a bucket into the well to draw water, your strength, your kindness, your resilience. But when the bucket returned empty, you blamed the well for being dry. In truth, the well was full, but the rope you used was frayed and thin. You never lacked depth, you lacked access. Authenticity repairs the rope. Ask yourself, what emotions have I avoided because they felt too real? What truths have I swallowed to remain likable? What dreams have I hidden to stay safe? In Buddhist teachings, there is the concept of genuine presence. It means showing up fully, quietly, honestly, not as a persona, not as a performance, not as an idea of who you think you should be, but as the living being you actually are, complete with your scars, your softness, your questions, your longing. Imagine sitting in a circle of people who see you not for your achievements, not for your image, not for your strength, but for your sincerity. They do not judge the cracks in your voice. They do not turn away from your tears. They do not demand that you be strong every moment of every day. They simply sit with you, present and open. There is healing in being witnessed. There is healing in being yourself. Repeat these affirmations with softness, letting your heart breathe more freely with each word. I am safe to be who I truly am. My vulnerability is my strength. Authenticity brings me peace. These are not slogans, they are seeds. Plant them daily, and they grow into courage. Now imagine you are walking along a path lined with old masks. Each mask represents a role you once played: the strong one, the quiet one, the agreeable one, the unbothered one, the one who never needs help, the one who always smiles, the one who rarely speaks their truth. You stop, you kneel, you touch each mask not with judgment, but with gratitude. Each one protected you once. Each one helped you survive. Each one represents a version of you that did their best. But you do not need them now. One by one, you leave them on the path. You walk forward, lighter, clearer, more open. Ask yourself gently, what mask am I still wearing out of habit? What freedom would come if I put it down? Who am I beneath all the roles I've played? Imagine now a lotus rising from muddy waters. The mud does not shame the lotus. It nourishes it. The lotus does not pretend to be untouched by the mud. It rises because of it. Your authenticity is the lotus. Your past pain is the mud. The two together create beauty, depth, resilience. You do not need to present yourself as clean to be worthy. You only need to present yourself as real. Now picture yourself sitting on a mountaintop at dusk. The sky softens into purple and gold. The world is quiet. You feel your breath slow. You feel your shoulders drop. You feel your chest expand gently. In that quiet, a truth emerges not from thought, but from the deeper place beneath thought. I deserve to live without hiding. You deserve to speak your truth without fear. You deserve relationships where you are understood, not tolerated. You deserve connection that meets your soul, not your mask. You deserve a life in which you do not have to shrink. Ask yourself tonight, if I lived with complete authenticity, without pretending, without proving, how much lighter would my life become? Because authenticity is not a destination. It is a return to the self you abandoned to survive, a return to the voice you silenced to be loved, a return to the truth you buried to stay safe. Healing is remembering who you were before the fear. Awakening is living as that self again, softly, openly, unapologetically. There comes a moment in your inner journey, a moment so gentle you almost miss it, when you realize that you have spent years carrying emotions that were never truly yours. You have absorbed the anger of others, taken responsibility for their disappointment, internalized their moods, and mistaken their suffering as evidence of your inadequacy. You believed that if you just tried harder, did better, changed, more, loved, deeper, softened further, then maybe finally others would treat you with the tenderness you longed for. But Buddhist wisdom reveals a truth as liberating as a breath. After a long silence, you are not responsible for the emotions that originate in others. Ask yourself softly, how many times have I made someone's pain my burden? Whose anger do I still hold in my body? Whose disappointment do I still carry as shame? Why do I assume that when someone withdraws, the fault must be mine? You learned somewhere along the way that being useful meant being lovable, that easing others' stress meant you were worthy, that absorbing their storms meant you were safe. But this is a misunderstanding born of childhood wounds. In truth, carrying what is not yours does not create love, it creates exhaustion. It creates confusion. It creates the slow erosion of your own inner world. Imagine your mind as a large open field. Into this field, others have thrown stones, their anger, their fears, their insecurities, their guilt. You picked up each stone believing it was your duty to hold it. Over time, your arms filled your steps, slowed your back bent. It became difficult to distinguish your emotions from the stones you carried. Healing begins the moment you look at the stone in your hands and whisper, "This is not mine." Now imagine a bird perched on a branch. Someone throws a handful of dust into the air. The dust swirls for a moment, obscuring the bird's vision. But the bird does not gather the dust into its wings. It simply waits, blinks, and allows the dust to settle. It does not claim what does not belong to it. Why do you ask yourself, whose emotional dust am I still carrying in my wings? What feelings did I inherit that were never mine to hold? What would it feel like to release them? There is a Buddhist teaching that says, "Do not invite suffering that does not belong to you." But the heart, when wounded, forgets this wisdom. It tries to fix, soothe, repair, absorb, believing that love requires self-sacrifice. Yet true love does not ask you to abandon yourself. True compassion does not demand that you drown in someone else's river. Imagine standing at the boundary between two gardens. One garden is yours, filled with your emotions, your experiences, your truth. The other belongs to someone else. Yet over the years, you have wandered into their garden, pulling weeds, tending soil, watering plants that were never yours. And while you worked there, your own garden slowly overgrew with neglect. Healing is the moment you return home to tend your own soil. Repeat these affirmations softly, letting each word untangle a knot inside you. I carry only what belongs to me. I release what is not mine. I return to myself with compassion. These words are not abandonment, they are boundaries, sacred boundaries. Boundaries that protect your peace without closing your heart. Now imagine sitting by a calm lake at night. Moonlight rests on the water like a soft silver prayer. You take a stone that represents guilt you've carried for years, or responsibility that was never yours, or shame that was planted in you by someone else's pain. You place the stone gently onto the lake's surface. At first, it sinks quickly. Then the ripples move outward, wide, soft, expanding, and eventually, the water becomes still again. Not because the stone belonged there, but because the lake knows how to return to calm. Your heart is the same. It knows how to return to calm when you stop adding stones. Ask yourself gently, what guilt am I ready to place into the water? What blame am I ready to stop carrying? What emotion have I misidentified as my own for far too long? Now picture yourself sitting across from someone who once hurt you. Their face may be blurred, their words may echo faintly, but you no longer shrink in their presence. Instead, you see something clearly. For the first time, their actions came from their inner world, not from your worth. Their silence reflected their wounds, not your insufficiency. Their anger reflected their turmoil, not your wrongdoing. Their distance reflected their fear, not your unlovability. This clarity is not anger, it is freedom. You begin to understand that you cannot heal others by sacrificing yourself. You cannot soften their storms by becoming the shelter. You cannot prevent their pain by internalizing it. Emotional responsibility is not a gift you can offer. It is a burden they must carry themselves. Now imagine a candle. The flame is small but steady. You do not protect it by placing your hand over it. Your hand would burn and the flame would suffocate. You protect the flame by giving it space to breathe. You protect your heart the same way, not by absorbing others' heat, but by allowing enough space for your light to remain steady. Repeat these words softly, letting them become a refuge within you. Their emotions belong to them. My peace belongs to me. I reclaim what is mine. Because healing is not only letting go of pain, healing is letting go of what was never yours. Tonight, ask yourself gently, if I returned all the emotions that never belonged to me, how light would my heart finally feel? There comes a tender moment on the path of awakening when you realize something profound. You have been moving through life as though you must earn your right to rest. You push yourself through exhaustion. You keep showing up even when your spirit is fraying. You offer kindness long after your heart has grown weary. You continue carrying burdens long after your body has asked you to stop. And somewhere beneath all of this, a quiet belief has rooted itself in your mind. I must keep going, or everything will fall apart. But Buddhist wisdom reveals a truth that melts through this illusion, like sunlight through mist. Rest is not a reward. Rest is a requirement for awakening. Ask yourself softly, why do I feel guilty when I rest? Who taught me that slowing down is lazy? Why do I believe my value is tied to my productivity? What am I afraid will happen if I finally allow myself to pause? So much of your suffering comes not from what you do, but from the pressure you place upon yourself, the relentless self-judgment, the unforgiving expectations, the constant striving to be enough. Imagine a bow pulled tightly for years. The string strains, the wood bends. The tension becomes unbearable. But the danger is not in releasing the arrow. The danger is in refusing to release it. You have lived like this bow pulled stretched under pressure, believing that relaxing would make you weak. In truth, it is the release that saves you. There is a teaching in Buddhism that says, when the mind is tired, it cannot see clearly. Yet, you have expected clarity from a mind carrying years of fatigue. Fatigue from heartbreak, fatigue from caretaking, fatigue from responsibility, fatigue from pretending, fatigue from trying so hard just to be okay. Imagine now a monk sweeping fallen leaves in the courtyard of a temple. For hours he sweeps carefully, mindfully. A young disciple approaches him and asks, "Master, why not rest?" "The leaves will simply fall again tomorrow." The master smiles. "Yes, that is why I rest, because the leaves will always fall again. Life will always bring more to do. The world will always present new challenges. Your heart will always encounter new emotions. Rest is not an escape from life. It is the place where life replenishes you. Ask yourself, what parts of me are tired, not from life itself, but from fighting life? What would rest feel like if I allowed it without guilt? What parts of my spirit are asking to be held instead of pushed? Imagine a small cup overflowing with water. The cup wants to carry more. It wants to serve more. But it cannot hold another drop until some space is created within it. Rest is that space. Rest empties the cup. Rest makes room for clarity, compassion, wisdom, and strength to return. Repeat these affirmations softly, letting your breath expand around each word. I am allowed to rest. I deserve space to breathe and renew. Rest strengthens me, not weakens me. Now imagine yourself lying in a quiet forest clearing. Moss cushions your back. The air is cool with early morning mist. Around you, the world speaks in whispers, the soft crackle of branches, the distant call of birds, the slow rhythm of leaves falling in their own time. The forest does not rush. The forest does not strive. The forest simply is. You are allowed to be like the forest, present, unhurried, free from the weight of self-judgment. Ask yourself gently, why do I fear stillness? What emotion rises when I stop moving? What truth appears when I no longer distract myself? In the stillness, something profound begins to unfold. Your inner world begins to speak. You hear the quiet grief you have ignored. You feel the soft ache of unexpressed longing. You notice the tightness of old expectations. You sense the exhaustion you have never honored. This is not weakness. This is awakening. Awakening to your limits. Awakening to your humanity. Awakening to the immense tenderness you have denied yourself. Now picture a lantern with a dim flame. You try to make it brighter by shaking it, by insisting it shine more strongly. But the lantern does not respond to pressure. It responds to care. The wick needs trimming. The oil needs replenishing. The glass needs cleaning. Only then does the flame rise naturally. Your inner flame too does not brighten through force. It brightens through rest. Consider this. A tired mind cannot love deeply. A tired heart cannot receive gently. A tired spirit cannot feel joy fully. A tired body cannot heal completely. Rest is not the opposite of productivity. Rest is the foundation of it. Now imagine yourself standing at the shore during low tide. The water withdraws, not because it is weak, but because it is gathering strength for its return. Even the ocean rests. Even the moon cycles through phases of fullness and retreat. Even the sun sets. Why then do you believe you must shine ceaselessly? Repeat softly, I honor my need for rest. I permit myself to slow down. My worth is not measured by how much I carry. Allow these words to soften something inside you. Imagine now walking into a serene meditation hall. The floor is smooth wood. Light filters through paper screens. You sit. You breathe. And for the first time in a long time, you feel yourself arriving, not as a role, not as a caretaker, not as a performer, but simply as a human being with a heart that deserves gentleness. Healing often comes not from doing more, but from doing less. From sitting, from breathing, from being. Ask yourself, if I did not need to earn rest, how would my life change? If I allowed myself to pause without guilt, how much more clearly would I see the path ahead? If I trusted that I am valuable, even when I do nothing, how deeply could I begin to heal? Because the truth is simple and profound. Your life does not improve by pushing harder. Your life improves when you learn how to rest. And tonight, ask yourself with compassion, if I gave myself permission to rest, truly rest, what part of me would begin to come alive again?